What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it? Is it Friday? It's Friday at July 4th. So for all of my American viewers, happy July 4th. I got a special July 4th American flag bikini video for you. So enjoy. Izzy, how you doing? Rosie, how you doing as well? Now, it looks like Rosie got the first like of the stream. And you know what that means? First like means double good karma. So every like obviously gets good karma. But the first like gets double good karma. Double good karma. And we're streaming right now on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, on Locals. If you were to get the first like on every one of those, that would be 8 good karmas. In these troubled times, that could come in handy. I'm just saying. Also, subscribing to the channel as well. You get that as well. So that's also a thing you can do. All right. Let's see. Rosie says she was looking for Radio Baloney last night, and Nevada had to remind her that it was Thursday. Thursday. Come on. Although we might be doing a stream Thursday this week, because I may not be able to do the Friday one. I might have to leave. Pardon me. I might have to leave town for a couple of days. Got a friend who's going through a tough time. I might have to go and lend some moral support. If that happens, then I will. I'll do a stream on Thursday. Let's see. Rosie made a chocolate ganache pie with chocolate shortbread crust. I've not tried it yet. That sounds really good. You have to send a picture in. Let's see. Izzy got like number 2. So that doesn't get double good karma. But you know what? It's July 4th. You know what? You get 1.5 good karmas for that. 1.5. That's extra. Let's see. Nevada got the 3rd like. So you know what? Again, I got to give you something extra. 1.25. There we go. All right. So what the hell are we doing? What are we even doing here, people? I'm expecting it to be kind of I have a pretty good mix between American and Canadian viewers because I cover both. I'm expecting it to be a little bit light on the American side tonight because it's July 4th. People are going to be partying and stuff, but the show must go on. So here we are anyway. All right. What are we going to talk about? Let's get to the menu. So let's quickly go through all of the topics we're going to deal with. And then we will get back to the chat, and then we will get into the stories in detail. Oh, one other thing. Tonight's going to be a 2-hour stream, short for a Friday night. I know. I'm going to do extra streams this week. I might even do one tomorrow night. But we're going to be wrapped up by 9:30 sharp tonight because it's summer and everything's different and there's things going on and stuff and it's crazy. I don't control it. I'm just being like swept, I'm just being swept along on the winds of chance right now, on the tides of fate or something. I don't know. But anyway, hey, look, 2 hours is a pretty good long live stream. That's a pretty good live stream, right? I know we normally do 3.5 hours, 4 hours, whatever, but 2 hours is still a good length of time for me to just babble nonsensically for 2 hours. I mean, that's still good value for your money. All right. First, we're going to talk about Alligator Alcatraz because I find it hilarious. I find this to be one of the most hilarious things. And it is really it's almost like everybody who's with the sane party, and by the sane party, I mean anybody in the Western world obviously in the United States, but anybody across the Western world who is just sick of being lectured by woke lunatics, being hectored at and scolded by woke lunatics, just preaching gibberish and being called, racist, fascist, blah, 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 for just having like perfectly normal opinions about things like border security, for instance, or like not giving sex changes to children, say. Just totally normal opinions. What were normal opinions 15 minutes ago anyway? Everybody's gotten so, the United States is leading the way on this. Obviously, Trump is leading the way on this. But, for all those people who have been hectored and scolded for just, accurately describing reality, say, this is kind of like the payback. You got stuff like Alligator Alcatraz, and it's just being rubbed in the commies' faces. The woke mind virus lunatics. It's just being rubbed in their faces. What else can you say? And I think it's a glorious, glorious thing. Alligator Alcatraz. I don't know. I think it's hilarious. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, that dirty, filthy commie in New York City, Zoran Mamdani. So I've made a couple of videos about him now. I've gone into quite a lot of detail about him. Each video I've made has become out of date with like 5 minutes later because there's some new crazy shit. Either it's now there's a video that he was a rapper. Now there's a video of him saying that he wants to seize the means of production. Now all of a sudden there's a video where apparently he identified as Asian and African American on a college application. It just never ends with this guy. I mean, you expect commies to lie, obviously. You expect dirty, filthy commies to lie. But you almost couldn't make this up. They're trying to kill satire. We're going to talk about that. We got a few new memes we're going to go through. Thank you, you guys. You guys usually send them in to me. We're going to talk about... we're going to talk about Canada a little bit here. Canada knowingly allowed 17,500 criminals into Canada. Hey, that's just like what Biden did. I keep saying this. The leftists are exactly the same everywhere in the world. They're just the same people. The leftist teleprompter readers could just work in any country. They wouldn't have to adapt at all. They just fit right in. The leftist politicians, just anywhere in the Western world, they would fit in anywhere. They could do just as well anywhere. They are all exactly the same people. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Mark Carney, the economic genius, that button-down moderate who is just going to bankrupt the country as fast as possible. Let's see, $92 billion deficit this year. He's not providing a budget until the fall. Who knows what we'll get? Maybe it'll just be one page with, we'll get a Gilbo to write something in crayon on it. Who knows? But yeah, so there we go. We're going to talk about that. Things aren't going well in Canada. So we were told by Mark Carney as well that if we didn't have all of these carbon taxes, our companies would be uncompetitive around the world. Yeah, that wasn't true. that wasn't true. It turns out that the EU is exempting heavy industry from carbon taxes. Canada doubles down. Nothing is true. Everything is false. Everything that comes from these people is false. It's all just ridiculous, either lies or just gibberish. He told us that he told the Canadian people he knows how the world works. He's proving that he really doesn't. And I want to prove it to you. What have we got here? Some woke mind virus stuff, Jaguar. We've got a little bit of Trump speeches here. Only two genders, male and female. President Trump. It is astonishing to me that we live in a time when a president has to come out at a rally to state the blindingly obvious, the thing that every single person has always known since people were able to even consider these issues. I mean, it's just astonishing to me. It's just absolutely astonishing. A president has to come out and state just the most basic, accurate description of reality. And it's controversial, bizarre. It's just the timeline that we're in is just weird. All right. And then we got a bunch of stuff if we have time to get to this. Look at this. I'm glad I'm not in Japan right now underneath that volcano because that's terrifying. Somebody pissed off the Japanese gods. Let's see. Yeah, we got a bunch of random stuff in here. If we have time to get to it, as I said, we got to shut this down at 9:30 sharp. Yeah, so we still got an hour 45 minutes. We should be able to get to it. All right. So let's get back to the chat for a minute, and then we will get into the stories. Let's see. Nevada says, Happy Independence Day. Let's see. Nevada says, I barbecued, so now it feels like Sunday. Well, that always happens. Izzy says, I think I just gained an inch reading the description of what Rosie made. Yeah, I know. That would go straight to my fat, that pie. Straight to my fat. Ganache. Chocolate. Let's see. Let's see. Izzy says, clearly a dirty commie. Well, that Zoran Mamdani is definitely a dirty commie, and he's not alone. He's not alone. Rosie says, Mark's commie. Is that Mark Carney? Mark's commie. That's a good one. I think we're going to keep that one. Mark's commie may know how the world works. Clearly his world is dysfunctional. Well, I mean, I guess the explanation is either he doesn't know how the world actually works and he's just lying or just thinks that he does, or he does actually know how the world works and he hates the world. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Let's get to this. Let's get to this alligator thing. Hold on a second. So it looks like YouTube is not showing my video thumbnail to anybody. It's been pretty bad since I got back. Last stream too, actually. Yeah, they seem to have decided that they don't want people to see. I think it's because I started using the word commie. I put commie in one of the descriptions of my video, and apparently it's a sensitive word for YouTube. That's offensive. That's offensive to commies, communists. They're very sensitive people. You could hurt them. That's mean. I just think that's weird. They're a corporation. They should hate commies too. All right. What is Alligator Alcatraz? Just for anybody who's been living under a rock, Alligator Alcatraz is an immigration detention facility. Alligator Alcatraz is an immigration detention facility erected at the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport inside Big Cypress National Preserve in Okeechobee, Florida. Announced in June 2025 by State Attorney General James Uthmeyer and championed by Governor Ron DeSantis, it is located in the Everglades west of Miami, and that's fast. That's fast. They got this thing up and running quick. The compound is designed to relieve pressure on federal immigration jails by housing up to 5,000 detainees in a remote area surrounded by, are you ready for it, people? Are you ready? Surrounded by alligator and python-filled wetlands. Talk about making America great again. Wow. The name alludes to both the local reptile population and the former maximum security Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary in San Francisco Bay, California. Let me repeat, surrounded by alligator and python-filled wetlands. Oh, yes, Trump. Yes, save Western civilization. Keep saving Western civilization. And they've got the signage up. It's real signage. Alligator Alcatraz. Oh my God. Oh my God. Canadian leaders, whoever's going to be the next Canadian Prime Minister, the next conservative Canadian Prime Minister, please take some inspiration from this. We got 5 million people who are going to just refuse to leave. Visas are coming up every day who are just not going to leave. There's no plan with the government to get them out of the country. I believe what do we get? We got bears. We got bears and cougars in Canada. We can do something like this. They're really dangerous. They'll eat you. I mean, they don't really want to, but maybe if you put barbecue sauce everywhere. I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure that out later. Oh. Where is everything that I had for this? Hold on a second. Okay. So let's hear Donald Trump and Governor DeSantis. They're getting along great these days, it looks like. Instead of waiting 3 years for a deportation decision, it will be made in less than 3 days at Alligator Alcatraz because DeSantis will deputize National Guardsmen as immigration judges. Every red state needs to follow suit. Let's take a look.
This is we're offering up our National Guard and other folks in Florida to be deputized to be immigration judges. We're working with the Department of Justice for the approvals. I'm sure Pam will approve. But then I'll have a National Guard judge advocate here. Someone has a notice to appear. Biden would tell them to come back in 3 years and appear. Now you'll be able to appear in a day or two. So they're not going to be detained, hopefully, for all that long. We'll have people here in this facility that can make, it's a bureaucracy. The president's got to deal with the bureaucracy. Now, that Supreme Court ruling was good because that's going to allow him to be able to exercise Article 2 the way founders intended. But you still have bureaucracy. So we want to cut through that so that we have an efficient operation between Florida and DHS to get the removal of these illegals done.
I always liked DeSantis. I remember, when they were having the primary and people were attacking him and he was awful and blah, blah, blah. I always liked him. I always thought he was great. It's just that Trump was the alpha, right? Trump is going to attack everybody. He's going to do it. He'll end up making friends with them afterwards. It's just, everybody knows it's just business. But I always liked DeSantis all the way through. I still think he'd make a good president. It appears to me that he's been a fantastic governor of Florida, and the Floridian, he seems to be quite popular in Florida. They seem to like what he's doing. I always thought he was great. All right. So how about this? I don't want to hear a single word. This is from I Meme, Therefore I Am. He says, I don't want to hear a single word or see another outrage post from Democrats about Alligator Alcatraz. These are the same people who turned a blind eye when Obama built cages for illegals and Biden continued using them during his own presidency. Obama cages versus Alligator Alcatraz. This is Alligator Alcatraz over here, and it's actually considerably nicer. I mean, if you want to use the word humane, I would say that is more humane. So there you go. It's always just politics. It's always just gamesmanship. It's the left has completely lost any credibility, including every leftist institution, every institution that's been taken over by the left, academia, the media, every politician, totally discredited at this point. Look at this. Oh, dear. She's crying. She's crying. But it looks like that alligator's trying to get her. Yikes. That's scary. Don't worry, AOC. You won't be sent to Alligator Alcatraz. Republicans in the replies of libs crying about Alligator Alcatraz. What's going on here? Well, I guess that's like the Florida Gators thing, sports thing, but, it's still funny. We'll get back to this crazy dingbat, this commie dingbat. But first, let's see. Alligator Alcatraz is the greatest Republican idea since lowering taxes from Fred. Look at that. Look at that guy. I wouldn't mess with him. I'm just saying. He's old school. Alligator Alcatraz is what dreams are made out of from cat turd. So there it is. It's surrounded, literally like, what is that in the water? Are those all alligators? That can't all be alligators, can it? But yeah, I mean, this area is that's full of pythons and alligators and other awful things as well that you don't want to run into on a dark night. So there you have it. I mean, this is just called having a nation. That's what this is called. This is called having a country. Because if you don't have borders, if you don't have, border policies, if you don't protect your borders, if you don't protect your people, you don't have a country. You're not a country. What are you at that point, right? This is just what, it may not feel nice or progressive, but this is a part of having a country. If you want to have social services, if you want to preserve those, you need to have this, because you can't pay for the whole world. It doesn't matter what AOC thinks or Zoran Mamdani thinks, right? You can't pay for the whole world. If you want to have all the nice things that you like, all the nice socialist things that you like, you need to have this too. You don't get it without this, because if you don't have this, you won't have it for long, because eventually the money will run out. What's going on here? Florida getting ready for World War III? Uh-oh. Well, that looks like Florida to me. No, I can't have music. All right. But yeah, this does seem like prime Florida, doesn't it? AI is also terrifying, actually. Let's see. Signs are up. Alligator Alcatraz. Now, of course, Democrat lawmakers are play acting and being dramatic. They're being theater kids again, as leftist politicians do everywhere in the world. But they're in Florida, just trying to storm inside Alligator Alcatraz to see the illegal alien criminals, and got denied by Florida agents. No entry permitted. They're staying outside. Now, they would definitely need like a police, some sort of armed escort to go in, because it's full of violent criminals, murderers, people who've committed lots of violent crimes. That's who it's for. It's not for babies, right? Like the Democrats are saying, well, they could just use it for anybody. Well, it's actually for like criminal aliens. So people who have broken the law after originally breaking the law by going into the United States illegally. So these are bad guys. So they would definitely need an escort to go in, right? Because it may not go well for them because of who's actually in there, who's being held in there. What you see is that they're saying, well, it just could be anybody. They could just pick up anybody. There could be babies in there. There could be babies. They could just be, the Republicans are just grabbing babies off the street. They don't even know where they're from. Most of them are citizens. It's just full of babies in there. It's just a big baby prison. Can you believe what they're doing? What Trump is doing? He's got a baby prison. Now, these are It's for violent, criminal, illegal aliens. That's who it's for. Will there be some people that end up in there that aren't? Probably. But you probably shouldn't have broken into the United States. It's full of babies. It's a baby prison. Shut up. No, it's not. Even you aren't that stupid. Typical woke mind virus retard. What's going on with this person? Speaking of crazy, retarded commie dingbats, from Paul A. Cispula, leftist says she's leaving America because Florida created Alligator Alcatraz because they want to have a country. And sometimes having a country, what you need to do to preserve your country doesn't feel progressive. It doesn't feel like it matches her level of empathy and compassion that she doesn't think about on issues that she has literally never thought about for 3 seconds, other than to go, oh, that sounds mean. That's mean. All right, let's listen to this. Brace yourselves, people. This is going to hurt your brain.
I quit. I'm done. I'm done with America. I'm done with taxes. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to cash out like Monopoly and go and hide and move somewhere. You're telling me that my tax dollars are going to build an Alcatraz, Auschwitz, Alligator Alcatraz, Auschwitz.
So does she really believe that they're going to put the criminal migrants in there? I guess she just assumes it's just going to be families, I guess is probably what she's heard on TikTok or something. Does she believe they're just going to be grabbing families, taking them in there, poisoning them with Cyclone B in showers, and then cremating the bodies en masse? Is that what she thinks they're going to be doing? Like, does she believe it's an actual Holocaust, like an actual death camp, where they're going to murder the people and then burn their bodies? Take like their gold teeth, I guess, and just send them to the White House? Does she really believe that? Of course she doesn't believe that. I guess it sells on, I imagine, on TikTok.
I don't even know what you want to call it. A detention center, a concentration camp in Florida.
Everything is just a concentration camp. What is a prison then? Is a prison a concentration camp? Because, there's a very kind of specific meaning for concentration camp. Are just prisons concentration camps? Is everything just a concentration camp to these people? It's weird. By the way, she talks about the Holocaust. I wonder where she stands on the whole Hamas thing. And from the river to the sea. That'd be interesting to know. She probably actually doesn't. She probably does think that prisons are concentration camps. And that they should. She's probably pro-abolishing prisons and just like everybody gets a visit from a social worker once a month or something. Unless they like stab murder the social worker, then I guess they maybe get 2 visits from 2 different social workers. I don't know. I kind of feel like under these people's plans, they're gonna run out of social workers. All right, let's continue.
That our tax money is paying for.
Your tax money is paying for you to have a country that functions. Why can't these people understand this? Like, you can't support the whole world. Like, it's just, like, it's basic economics here. Like, you can't support the whole world. You can't give benefits. You can't just let the entire world in. There's only so many places for people to live. There's only so many jobs. There's only so much money to go around. There's only so much tax dollars to go around for all the social programs that you want. Like, it's the price of having a country. I know it doesn't sound compassionate enough for you. I know it doesn't sound progressive and nice, but it's just the way the freaking world works.
I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I can't feed the system that is doing everything that I...
Feed the system. The system. They love that word, the system. I can't feed the system. What is the system? They never really describe what the system is. The system is just like things they don't like. Things that they haven't bothered to put 3 seconds of thought or consideration into, but they don't like because it doesn't feel progressive, because the woke mind virus tells them that they shouldn't like it. That's the system. It's just whatever they don't like. It's the system. It's the system doing it. It's perfect for leftists because if you can just blame the system, right? You don't have to worry about self-accountability. It's not your fault. It's the system's fault. It's just the system.
Stand against. I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for any of this.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like in a democracy, right? Just because you voted for something doesn't mean you get it. But that's the whole thing, like the whole kind of competition part of it, right? So you've got two parties, and if the party you voted for doesn't win, you don't get what you wanted. Just the way it works. I don't think you were complaining under Biden.
I'm done playing the game. I want a tree and a farm and land and somewhere else. I can't keep feeding into this system. Am I the only one? Because it's been, what? Today's the 2nd? It's been 7 months that this man's been in office, and I'm exhausted, and I can't do it anymore. I'm cashing out Monopoly.
You're exhausted because you're mentally weak and because your brain has been infected by an idea pathogen. That's why you're exhausted, because Trump is living rent-free in your brain. It's everything she stands against. You mean like having a country and laws? She stands against that? I mean, maybe she should move to a country that hates border security, right? Maybe she moved to one of those countries. Oops, there aren't any. Every country has borders and laws and immigration laws. Maybe she should go to Mexico. Oops, Mexico deports people that are in Mexico illegally. Mexico detains and then deports people that are in Mexico illegally. They do it right away, and it's not controversial there. When I say that they haven't spent 3 seconds considering their beliefs, I mean it. I'm not being facetious. And I'm talking not even 3 seconds, not even 2 seconds, not even 1 second. That might cause some cognitive dissonance or something. They don't need that. They don't need any discomfort. They know what TikTok told them, and they're just going to go with that. Anyway, a little bit of a rant for you guys. All right, let's get to the. Oh, hold on. Let's see. I got anything else in here that we want to clean up before we go? I do like this AOC one. I do like that. That alligator's gunning right through the fence there. Wow. What's going on here? Okay, let's just end it with this. There's Scott Jennings. He's always good for a laugh, Scott Jennings.
I think we need restrictions on, if you're over the age of 21 and you go to Disneyland or Disney World and you don't have children, straight to Alligator Alcatraz, El Salvador.
But have you ever been to Epcot?
I'm just saying, this is weird. And talk about people that get in the way of things. You're trying to take your kids there and you got these weirdos walking around. I'm just saying.
Go to Epcot. It's great for grown-ups, okay?
I agree. If you are an adult and you go by yourself without children to Disneyland or any of those places, straight to Alligator Alcatraz you go. I don't care. I don't care about your rights. No, you've abdicated all of your rights at that point. You went to Disneyland as an adult by yourself. It's over. It's over. Sorry. It's done. Straight to Alligator Alcatraz for you. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. And let me say as well, while I'm on this topic, Christmas, that's for kids. Birthdays, for kids. You turn 16, that's your last birthday. That's the last birthday present you ever get. You never get another present again. You're a goddamn adult now. Same with Christmas. Absolutely the same with Christmas. You can enjoy it. The family gets together. You can have a celebration. No goddamn presents, no cards, no happy birthdays. You know it's your birthday. That's fine. And you know what? It doesn't matter anyway. It's just this stupid thing. Just forget about it. Get on with your life. It doesn't mean anything. You're an adult, for God's sakes. Anyway, that's just what I think. That's just what I think. Anyway, have we got anything else on this? And don't even get me started on Easter. Don't get me started. You don't want to hear what I have to say about Easter. Oh, yeah. One more thing here. Florida Democrat lawmakers just got blocked from entering Alligator Alcatraz. No tours, no grandstanding. Officials said security first, politics later. Yeah, it's all just grandstanding. Let's hear what she has to say here.
Here to demand access to this detention facility. Based on reports that we've been able to glean, the site is already experiencing flooding. The first individuals who have been detained with no due process have arrived. And it's so essential when you have hundreds of millions.
Shut up, Commie. Commie gets nothing. And you know what? In the end, Commie did get nothing. Commie did get nothing. So it had a happy ending. All right. Let's get back to the chat. We got Denny Ringus in the chat over on YouTube. Good to see you, Denny. He says, happy 4th of July to all our American brothers and sisters down south. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Denny, join us on Rumble, by the way. All the chat you see on the screen, that's all over. We have a very lively, a fantastic community over on Rumble. YouTube doesn't let anybody see my thumbnails. Nobody ever knows I'm live on YouTube, but on Rumble, we've got a fantastic community here. Super awesome. Join us on Rumble. Join in the chat there. It's a whole new community. It's a bunch of new friends. Everybody, anybody watching over on YouTube right now, come over and watch it on Rumble. Come on, people. Come on. All right. What are you guys saying? Let's see. Oh, the chat has been busy over here. Let's take a hold on. I think I'm almost back to where I left off. All right, here we go. Let's see. Izzy says, maybe Mark's Commie, that's Mark Carney, some people call him, but we call him Mark's Commie over here. Maybe Mark's Commie is a lizard person. That's something to consider. That is definitely something to consider. I'm definitely not writing that off. We do know, however, that he's a smart tard. And what is a smart tard? A smart tard is something we've coined over here on Radio Baloney, which describes somebody who's supposed to be smart, but they are, in fact, you guessed it, a tard. A tard. Nevada says, had a barbecue cheeseburger on an onion roll with corn on the cob, then some ice cream for dessert. That sounds very good. Very good. Let's see. Nevada says, Alligator Alcatraz. I love it. It is hilarious. It's the best timeline. It really is. Let's see. Nevada says, Polar Bear Prison. Yeah, we could have a prison up north surrounded by polar bears. I think that's where Canada should go with this. That way, if you're like staying in the country illegally, you got to go to Polar Bear Alcatraz. Let's see. As he says, we also have snow and ice and polar bears. I'm sure we could figure something. We could indeed. Let's see. Nevada says, I think DeSantis would be a great president too. I've always liked DeSantis. I liked him all through all that controversy during the primary and everything, where he was getting people were dogpiling him. I've always liked him a lot. Maybe he's a little on the spectrum, but so's Elon, and I'm fine with that. Let's see. You guys are talking about food a lot in the chat. A lot. And that's understandable. Let's see. Nevada says baby prison. That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say next. Rosie says broken into the U.S. What a great description. Well, that is what they do, right? They break in. It's like breaking into your house. Let's see. Nevada says Texas doesn't need her either. You talking about AOC? Izzy says she'd be happy to welcome violent criminals into her home, I'm sure. Could just be talking about any leftist politician there, anywhere in the Western world. Let's see. Nevada said majority did vote for this. It's true. Oh, you're talking about the crazy lady in the car. Yeah, crazy lady in the car. Let's see. He says, I'm sure she draws more from the system than she has ever paid. That's quite possibly true. As he says, all this winning is exhausting. Exhausting. Still 3.5 years to go, lady. Yep. She's got to have to learn to deal with it. Ghetto Monkey, good to see ya. Ghetto Monkey is in the U.S. enjoying 4th of July. It's a good time to be down there. Let's see. At the beach in Cali, and Americans are pretty serious about July 4th. Yep. For good reason. Let's see. All right, so let's let's move on. So we've talked about this. Well, I guess you could call him a dirty, filthy commie. This Zoran Mamdani. Maybe that's why YouTube isn't letting people see my videos anymore, my thumbnails, because I keep using the words dirty, filthy commie. The word commie apparently is a sensitive word when you put it in the back end when you're getting your videos ready to publish on YouTube. I've been informed that it's a sensitive word, commie. Commie. The word commie is a sensitive word. So it could offend commies, right? Stalin could be really offended by it. He doesn't like it at all. Chairman Mao really didn't like that whole commie thing. Really offensive. But in any case, I'm going to keep saying it because, you know what? It's just an accurate description of reality. Dirty, filthy commie. They're liars. Let's say dirty, filthy, lying commie. How about that? Dirty, filthy, lying comedy. Dirty, filthy, lying commie. And why do we say that? Well, look at this. Mamdani identified as Asian and African American on a college application. So I don't know. Do you think he looks very African American? He was born in Uganda. But I don't think that really technically counts. Not in the way that like Columbia University meant it to be, right? I think we could all say it's just a tad bit deceptive. And by the way, for a woke, a full-on woke mind virus, DEI commie, seems a little unprincipled trying to steal a place from an actual black person, don't you think? Huh. It almost makes you question his character a little bit. Zoran Mamdani, the Democrat running for mayor of New York City, was born in Uganda. He doesn't consider himself black, but said the application didn't allow for the complexity of his background. Now that's a lie. Spoiler alert, that's a lie, but we'll get to that in a second. And I'm going to prove it to you, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, by the way, this is the New York Times, right? So this isn't a far-right blog. This is the New York Times. Let's see. As he runs for mayor of New York City, dirty, filthy, lying commie Zoran Mamdani has made his identity as a Muslim immigrant of South Asian descent a key part of his appeal. But as a high school senior in 2009, Mr. Mamdani, the Democrat nominee, claimed another label when he applied to Columbia University. Asked to identify his race, he checked a box that he was Asian, but also black or African American. According to internal data derived from a hack of Columbia University that was shared with the New York Times. Columbia, like many elite universities, uses a race-conscious affirmative action admissions program at the time. Used a race-conscious affirmative action admissions program at the time. And again, I want to say for somebody who's, making his whole career on being the wokest of the woke, the most DEI of the DEI, this doesn't look good. Also, I might ask, you can parse out this article as much as you like. You're not going to find any white privilege in here, any hint of white privilege in this whatsoever. Makes you wonder about the whole white privilege thing, doesn't it? I mean, apparently Zoran Mamdani doesn't believe that, because I think he could pass for white much easier than he could pass for African American. Right? So, yeah, it kind of puts a little bit of a lie to the whole white privilege thing, doesn't it? That's not the well he went to when he was looking to take advantage. So he says that there was no place to accurately reflect his identity, his complex identity. He's South Asian. There was no place on this form where he could have just marked down, oh, right here, South Asian. And he could have written behind it, born in Uganda. Right here. So, did I mention anything about dirty, filthy, lying commie? Did I mention anything about that? What did he say again? Hold on. In an interview, Mr. Mamdani said he did not consider himself either black or African American, but rather an American who was born in Africa. He said his answers on the college application were an attempt to represent his complex background, given the limited choices before him, not to gain an upper hand in the admissions process. Well, he just had these limited choices, and right there, South Asian, he's got space to write in, born in Uganda, right there. Dirty, filthy, lying commie. I mean, come on. And let's dispense with the whole democratic socialist. Let's just dispense with that right now. Listen to this.
It's not simply to raise class consciousness, but to win social.
So, class consciousness, classic commie stuff.
And obviously raising class consciousness is a critical part of that, but making sure that we have candidates that both understand that and are willing to put that forward at every which moment that they have, at every which opportunity that they're given. We have to continue to elect more socialists, and we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production.
Whoa! What was that?
Whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production.
Oh, one more time, smiley commie.
Whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production.
Seizing the means of production, there is not a more commie thing that you can say. If you are a dirty, filthy liar and you're also a communist, there is nothing more commie you can say than seizing the means of production. That is communism. That is communism. He is a communist. You can't say that your final goal is seizing the means of production and not be a communist. There's nothing else you can be. That is the definition of a communist. He is a communist. Communist. What did he say again?
Whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production.
I'm sorry, I don't know, Politico, whoever else wants to try and make excuses and apologetics for this guy. And well, he's just a social. He just wants it to be like in Denmark. No, he doesn't. He wants to seize the means of production. He says it himself. Look at the big smile on his face. He's thrilled about the prospect of that. Seizing the means of production. He is a communist. Zoran Mamdani. We will slowly buy up the housing on the private market and convert properties into communes. Commune. That's a commie word. That's a dirty, filthy commie word. This is what commies want to do. He wants to buy up the private housing and turn it into communes, which really what he means is communist slums. He wants to seize the means of production. He is a commie. He is a commie. He is a DEI equity king who lied about his race to gain advantage on a college application. Again, he could have much more successfully have claimed to have been white and gotten some of that precious, precious white privilege, right? He's much more believably white than black, than African. He's clearly not a Zulu warrior, right? Why wouldn't he claim all that precious, precious, precious white privilege? Well, because we know it doesn't actually exist. That's not where the privilege lies. And talking about lying, he pretended that he's black. I mean, come on, people. So there you have it. You just simply can't trust commies. You simply can't. Totally without principle. It's all just the ends justify the means. Pretty, pretty, pretty terrible, if you ask me. All right. I'm glad we've put this this whole Democrat socialist thing to rest. Let's see. Let's see. Candle Monkey says, I haven't been active enough on the channel. Haven't been doing my part. We'll make up for it tonight. Well, you're getting an earful tonight. So we are making up for it. What the heck is going on here? Oh my God. What is this? Is everybody ready? Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. 1,000 units. Wow, that's really exclusive. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check. I'm not sure I really get that line. The smooth, medium roast and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash, no commies. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Ooh, mold is gross. Plus, you're also getting, guess what? A gold spoon clip. Because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. Every patriot knows that. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions. Ooh. And a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. $170 worth of coffee and gear. Yours for how much? That can't be real. $99. That's less than $100. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio. Remember that /studio and grab your starter kit before they're all gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something. We're talking about free speech, folks, just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. Just stay away from that damn commie coffee. There we go. You know what? That felt good. That felt good. That was from my soul, from my heart. I gave everything for that ad read. Everything that I have to give, I gave for that ad read. I gave it to you and to 1775 Coffee. And I feel good. I feel good about it. Let's see. What do we got next? What time is it? So we got about an hour left to go. I better get a move on. Yikes. Let's see. Candle Monkey says we need our own secret word for commie. Okay, you're on the case, Candle Monkey. Work on it. Izzy says would hate to offend a commie. I know. Well, it says Dirty, filthy, lying, stinking commies. I know. That's what they are. That's what they are. Rosie says, does Elon look African-American? He does not. I doubt he put African-American on his college applications. Nevada says, how about libtards? But it's got to be something distinctive. It really does. That'd be offensive to tards. We need something new. We need something creative. Or just smellies. Smellies. That's a nice one. Sounds like a bunch of commie gobbledygook. What? Somebody else said that.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Sure does. Danny Ringus says, if people had a brain all through history, communism killed more than 25 million more than the Nazis. Well, it's actually more than that, because some estimates are up as high in the 20th century as like 120 million people died unnecessarily due to communism. Whether they were just directly murdered by their government or died in famines, either intentional or accidental, just through incompetence. Nevada says July is White History Month. Izzy says coffee ad, the best kind of energy. Rosie says gold spoon clip and commie hate. Great presentation. 1777 out of 10. I do believe that's the most out of 10 you can get. Izzy says, sounds like freedom coffee. You know what you're talking about. Now you're on the trolley. Let's see. A clammy. Rosie says a clammy. A clammy. CLAMMIE. That's not bad. Maybe we'll work on that one. Clammy. Dirty, filthy, clammy. Dirty, filthy, like stinking clammy. I got to test it out a bit more. Nobody says, great ad. Thank you so much. Let's see. Catamonkey says, how about them people? Are you talking about the they, them energies? The them persons? Is that what you're talking about? Are you asking for some energy, Candle Monkey? Is that what you're asking for? Did you try and have some coffee? It didn't work. Did you try and have an espresso? It didn't work. You smoked some crack. It didn't work. Then you smoked some crystal meth. Still didn't work. And then you chewed on like 5 polar bear adrenaline glands. Still nothing. Still nothing. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to turn. You don't know where to go. You've got no idea. All you know is that you're running out of energy and you don't know what the hell is going on.
Them energy. They them energy. They them energy. They them energy.
And teapot. There you go. All right, we got to move on. We got an hour. Let's see. Let's do some memes real quick. We need to normalize commie shaming again. I could not agree more. Communism is perhaps the worst thing to happen to modern humanity, and people should feel bad and stupid for liking it. Well, the thing is, they are stupid for liking it, right? In order to be a communist, a modern communist, you have to be totally historically illiterate, or you just simply need to be a genuinely bad person, a soulless, evil person. So either you're totally ignorant, or you're just a bad person, because you can't, you can't be a good person and be well informed, right? Because if you're well informed, you know what communism has done to humanity. And you can save your, well, it's never been done properly before. Fuck you. You're not going to solve the problem. I don't believe that for a second, and I don't see why we should burn down Western civilization because you got a hunch. Fuck you. It's a tragedy, actually. It's a tragedy that people don't know. People don't know what it is that they're supporting. The people voting for Zoran don't know. You know who knows? People who escaped from like Cuba or people who got out of the Soviet Union. Those people know. All right. People who had to live under it know. All right, we already covered that. So, yeah, Zoran identified as a black man on his college application. I mean, come on. They should have gone for, like, white from Spain or something. But again, he would have, I guess he'd figured out that that the whole white privilege thing was kind of bullshit. So maybe that's not the way to go. Let's see, black, Native American. I know for a fact, I have a very good information on this. Elizabeth Warren is in fact genetically half apple streusel. And that's fact. That's straight from, that's a fact. Genetically half apple streusel. Her father was an apple streusel. Let's see. That woman apparently, and sharp as a tack. Sharp as a tack. Oh dear, the lies. But the government, they have experts. Shouldn't we just do whatever they say? That is why no one will remember your name. Yep. Mask person, nobody will remember your name. Brad Pitt says so, or Achilles, I guess. Achilles. All right, let's see. Liberals destroy the economy over 10 years with climate insanity, debt, corruption, and mass migration. But Trump, so this is for Canada, right? So the last election, everything was Trump's fault in Canada. I don't know. Will they ever wake up? I don't know. I don't know anymore. I just don't know. Michelle Rempel Garner posted this. Yesterday, news broke that the Liberals knowingly allowed 17,500 criminals into Canada. Why am I not surprised? Today, confirmation of what we already knew. The Liberals don't really screen anyone. And it could have dire consequences for Canada and the world. Lax immigration vetting makes Canada prime target for Iranian infiltration, says Secure Canada. I mean, we already knew that the immigration system was so overburdened with the mass migration from Trudeau that they weren't effectively vetting anybody that was coming in. But now we find out thousands of foreigners, criminal convictions forgiven by Ottawa over 11-year span, raising transparency concerns. Yes, that does raise concerns, doesn't it? These are people whose criminal convictions were forgiven so that they could move to Canada. Make it make sense. More than 17,500 foreigners have had their criminal convictions forgiven by the Immigration Department over the past 11 years, removing a bar to coming to Canada. Federal government figures show the disclosure has raised transparency concerns about the type of offenses they committed. How about, I don't care what kind of offenses they committed. They're not getting in. We're not forgiving anything. Why would we do that? Are we retarded? Government figures show that in the 11 years up to and including 2024, 17,600 people convicted of criminal offenses abroad were considered rehabilitated by the IRCC. This meant they were able to apply to enter Canada, including through work and study visas as permanent residents or visitors. And I'm sure this has nothing to do with the massive rise in crime in Canada, obviously. The IRCC has not, however, released a breakdown of the kind of criminal offenses that were forgiven. Of course not. That would probably look really bad, which is, I'm sure, why they're not doing it. It said in a statement to the Globe and Mail that the immigration minister would be involved in decisions relating to the most serious offenses. How do serious offenses even get involved in this? Like, how is that even a part of this at all? Like, I'm saying you know what I would say? If somebody was like thrown in prison in Germany for making fun of a politician, which happens in Germany, okay, you know what? I'll forgive that. If it's like not even really a crime, if it's not a crime by, civilized standards, right? By the standards of any actual free country, then okay, maybe something like that. Maybe somebody was convicted of some fake crime, of descent in Iran or North Korea or something like that. Okay, maybe that's a different consideration, but that's not what this is. We don't know exactly what because they won't tell us, but that's how you know it's bad. Foreigners applying to have their crimes forgiven must show that they are unlikely to take part in future criminal acts, according to IRCC. Well, I hope that they ask them, like, are you going to commit more criminal acts when you get to Canada? No? Oh, well, that's a relief. The department considers the number of offenses and circumstances and seriousness of each one, as well as the applicant's behavior since the crime was committed. Well, they consider the number of offenses. So, it's like multiple offenses. How about this is insane and stop doing it? To protect Canadians and in the interest of transparency, IRCC should be open about what type of convictions have been forgiven, said Richard Kurland, an immigration lawyer based in Vancouver. Transparency, how about that? If they enter Canada and cannot be removed for a considerable period of time, people could be at risk. So people could be at risk if they're bringing criminals into Canada. The issue is highly relevant, he said, as people with criminal convictions facing deportation from the United States may seek to come to Canada. That's going to happen. And Mark Carney's already told us about how much he treasures diversity. And we're not like those mean Americans here. No. We're compassionate and we love diversity or something. So everything is crazy. Everything is insane. Thousands of foreigners' criminal convictions forgiven by Ottawa over an 11-year span. So that would go back to 2014. That's when Stephen Harper was in power. The Conservative Party for Trudeau became prime minister in 2015. Now, this has actually been in place since 2002, which was a Liberal government at that time. And it seems like nothing was really done with it up until Trudeau. So I think it was used very sparingly. And I think it was originally intended to be used very, very rarely, but just for special cases. And it got to Trudeau and he just went, no, everybody. I'm a progressive. I'm doing a progressive, is what Trudeau said. Not just everybody, just everything. Canadians are compassionate. We're not that compassionate, Justin. Well, maybe you should ask us first just how compassionate we are. Don't be Canada. Don't be Canada. All right. What's going on with this? All right. This is great. But let's get back to the chat quickly. 8:39. Where is the time going? Let's see. Back to the chat real quick. Rosie says, have been photographing pie. Definitely need a food editor here. Okay. Let's see. What's going on? Do you know what I might do? Because we got so much to do and we don't have much time left, is that there is a thing I have to do here in my community, but it'll probably only take like 5 minutes, maybe like 10 minutes. And then I could come back and get back to the show. Would you guys be all right waiting for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes or something? I could just leave what's on the screen right now, or I could put something else on. I could put a noodle cooking show or a sandwich cooking show. Because if we do that, then we can just keep going. Because I got a lot going on here, and I feel like I'm on a roll. I'm in fine form. Maybe it's because I took vitamin D earlier. I don't know what's going on. I also had a chocolate muffin. That might have something to do with it. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously, or a nutritionist. All I know is I've got crazy energy, and I feel like I'm on a roll tonight, and I'm in fine fighting form. Fighting form, I'm telling you. Those dirty, filthy, lying, stinking commies, they're running for the hills. They get anywhere near this show. All right. What do you guys think? Before we get to the next thing. Rosie says, you have to come back. You owe a chocolate. That's right, I do, don't I? All right, hold on a sec. Forgot every time I show the they them energy. This was part of the complex negotiations between me and the chat, that half the chat is dead set against they them energy, does not find it amusing in the way that the other half of us do. But Rosie, being an important member of the community, has demanded that if we're playing they them energy at any point, that we must show something to do with chocolate afterwards. And I think that's a good compromise. It's not like I hate chocolate or anything. Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that. That's some 4th of July chocolatiness for sure. Look at that. Wow. Wow, that looks good. What do you think of that, Rosie? That's some pretty nice chocolatey stuff right there. I want to eat one of those. That looks fantastic. What else we got here? What the heck is going on there? Wow. Look at the chocolate on top there. That's crazy. Crazy about chocolate ice cream, chocolate cake. What? Is that some sort of ice cream chocolate or chocolate mousse thing? I don't know. What's that? Too much chocolate. It's too much. I should have played They Them Energy twice. All right. Izzy says, yeah, good for a 10-minute break. Well, that's good enough for me then. All right. Let me scooch back in the chat a little bit before we move on. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. Candle Monkey, bye, and then oops, Pocket text that. Watch your fucking phone, Candle Monkey. Come on, get your head out of your ass. Let's see. Candle Monkey says, call commies them people. Them people. I don't know. I think people will get confused with the they thems, right? Many of them are they thems, but I'm not sure. Work on it. Work on it, Candle Monkey. Travis, how you doing? Good to see you. You didn't miss the energy. Awesome. All right. Izzy says, I think I'd rather try the crack. It's just that the crack's not enough. That's the thing. Let's see. JDL makes a great point. How are you doing, JDL? JDL makes a great point here. Hit the like button, everyone. Hit the like button. Get your free share of good karma by hitting the like button. Everybody knows when you hit the like button, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on Rumble or X or you're on Locals, when you hit the like button, you get free good karma, the kind of good karma you can't afford to turn your back on in these troubled times. Absolutely not. I wouldn't do it. I think you're crazy. Also, subscribe to the channel. And if anybody wants to really help out the channel, this is a lesson that I think that Spambot taught everybody, is that the best way to help the channel is to become a member of the channel and or buy or get a gift of subscription to somebody else. That is the best way to help out the channel if you want to, and no pressure on anybody. I'm just saying that if you wanted to do something like that, you've been thinking about doing something like that, that is really the best way to help out. It's an awesome way. It really helps the channel. I think Rumble likes it, I think. Particularly Rumble likes it, although you can do it on YouTube as well. Let's see. JDL says, fireworks going off around me. Awesome. Awesome. Smoky haze outside. Awesome. Sounds like Las Vegas right now, Nevada says. Awesome. Spambot. Good evening, my fellow degenerates, Spambot says. It is good to have you back. Now, I wasn't expecting you back till July 6th. That's what you said. I wrote it down. July 6th. So it's good to have you back. If I'd known you were coming on, I would not have played the They Them Energy. So, I'm just saying. Because Spambot really hates it. Hates it a lot. Let's see. What else we got going on here? Chocolate making video is needed, as he says. Well, it's something we can think of in the future. Let's see. Rosie says 10 out of 10 on chocolate. It's very good. It was a very good chocolate choice. JDL says a toad and I are staring at each other now. Is the toad trying to steal your soul? I wonder. Oh, shit. Spambot says, I hit another fucking deer on the way home this vacation. God, you know what? I almost hit a deer, like literally like within a foot of hitting a deer last fall on a road trip. And then my trip I just took out to the island, there was I didn't actually get, it was a deer on the road, but I didn't really get, I wasn't close to hitting it, but it's getting there. I'm getting to the point where I don't know, the deer are, I think the deer hate living in the wilderness and they just want to end it all. And I don't blame them because it would be miserable. I wouldn't want to live out in the woods. It'd be awful. Spambot says, I hate wildlife. They hate themselves. Nobody hates themselves as much as wildlife. They hate their lives. They all dream of living in zoos, all of them. And I'm not being facetious. I mean that. Rosie says, deer are suicidal. You missed the first one. The second one dives. They are. It sucks. Squirrels, why do you think they keep running in front of your car? You're like, how stupid can these things be? They're not stupid. They're self-aware. They hate living in a goddamn tree. It sucks. They hate living outside. They're staring in our windows going, God damn it, I have to live in a tree. I don't have TV. It's not warm. It's awful. It's rainy. It's cold. There's constantly something trying to murder me. I don't think I want to do this anymore. That's why they're running in front of the cars. They hate it. Let's see. Rosie says, sorry you hit one. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're okay. That's the thing, right? Those things go through your windshield and that could be game over. Yeah, we're glad to hear that you're all right. Radio streamer, good to see ya. Says, hello, fellow degenerate basket of deplorable county men and women. Took the short route. Spambot is at it again. Thank you so much, Spambot. Dramus Eves was gifted a membership by Spambot. Nevada gifted a membership by Spambot. Whoa. Izzy gifted a membership by Spambot. Candle Monkey gifted a membership by Spambot. JDL gifted a membership by Spambot Fodder. Holy macaroni. This is fantastic. Well, this is, it is time, people. It is time. I think everybody knows who the best person who has ever lived is. Best person ever. When we say best person ever, we're talking about all of history. All of it. Best person ever. And all for less than the price of a Tesla Cybertruck. It's a fantastic thing. Spambot, deeply appreciate your sacrifice. One more time. Seriously, thank you very much. It's awesome. That really is like the best thing for the channel. It's awesome. Let's see. As he says, best person ever again. So now we're up to, that's like, so there's 5. I think we're into the 50s, like 52. So I think we're at like 57 or 58 or something now. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, how's your vehicle doing, by the way? Like, I'm assuming you're okay, otherwise you wouldn't be on the chat, but Radio Streamer says, all I hear is free meats and a lost fender. Spambot says, still in vacation mode. They, them don't matter on vacation. Well, we'll get back to our strict schedule again. Tuesdays and Thursdays. If we do Thursdays. We don't often do Thursdays. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, keep a good knife on you and you can just leave the unwanted parts there and you have meat for a year. It's something to come along and eat the carcass. Canada Monkey says, I just assumed squirrels are really good at avoiding taxes. Oh, dear. Let's see. All right, let's do this. Let's get back to it. What time do we got? 8:52. All right. So where were we? We had already covered the fact that liberals, for some reason, want Canada to be flooded by foreign criminals, which is just a running concern, a going concern of the left everywhere in the Western world. They just love it for some reason. So Mark Carney was sold to the Canadian people. It's people who watch my channel obviously know that I didn't buy it for a second, because I actually looked into his record a little bit. So when, Rosemary Barton's teleprompter told us about his credentials, and he was, Bank of Canada, and then, the Bank of England, I actually took a little bit of a deeper look into it to find out, well, how did he actually do in his time there? Turns out terribly. He did exactly what you would expect a elitist globalist to do, which is print a bunch of money, cause inflation, and wreck the country. Rosemary Barton's teleprompter on the CBC never did tell us that, though, for some reason. It was just, look at his credentials, look at his wonderful credentials, and don't go any further. For obvious reasons, he was their new meal ticket, promised $150 million more for the CBC. And of course, all the other subsidized corporate media in Canada knew they'd be getting the same treatment. So there you go. But in any case, he's supposed to be this button-down moderate, this economic genius, this Oxford economist. He really knows what he's doing. Nobody knows more about economics than Mark Carney. Well, let's see. Federal budget projected to soar to $92 billion this year. Unfair to pass these burdens on, CD Howe Institute says. So before we go into that, let's just take a look at previous deficits actually under Trudeau. So actually, if we go back to the Harper years, the conservative years, you can see much more modest either deficits or surplus. You can see much more modest deficits when they occurred. So you can see actually in 2005, 2006, 13 billion surplus, 2006, 2007, 13 surplus, 9 surplus. You see the economic crash, 2008, 2009. You had a modest 5.8 billion deficit, modest by today's standards. 2009-10, 55 billion deficit. Again, the financial crash, very modest considering what was to come. 2010-11, 33. And you can see that in the years after, under the conservative government, the deficit coming down, them being responsible, and then actually ending up with a surplus in the last year, 1.9, a modest surplus. So what happens with Trudeau? You get I get a modest deficit, 2015-16, 1 billion. Go straight up to 17, 19, 14, 39, 327 billion, 2020, 21. Yes, I know. We all know what was happening that year, but we didn't have to do it. Like Sweden didn't go in freaking insane. We didn't have to double our national debt. 2021-22, 90 billion. 22-23, 25.7 deficit before net actuarial losses. 23-24, 61.9, which was above where it was supposed to be. So just reckless spending, obviously, right? Carney, the button-down moderate, 92 billion. Just 92 billion now, because crisis or something. There's that button-down moderate, that economic genius. Only 92 billion. By the way, that's double what it was projected to be 4 months ago. 4 months ago. You wonder why we're not getting a budget? This is why. This is why we're not getting a budget. Because it's out of control. The Carney government is poised to post a massive deficit of more than $92 billion during this fiscal year. A new report from a well-respected financial think tank projects almost double what was forecast just a few months ago by a nonpartisan arm of the government. The report from C.D. Howe Institute also forecasts deficits of more than $77 billion a year over the next 4 years. Also, huge increases over what had been expected. Trudeau doubled the national debt, right, in his time. But you go back, I mean, his deficits were actually fairly moderate compared to Mark Carney's most years, right? I mean, 92 billion. Okay, he says there's a crisis, but is it? We're not in pandemic crisis mode. We're not in, global economic collapse crisis mode. Not like, 2008. It's not like 2020 right now. This is just insane. It's widely accepted that Canada's economy is at a critical crossroads, the C.D. Howe economists write. So are Canada's finances. Beyond the economic drag of high deficits, and rising debt, it is unfair to pass these burdens on to the current, young, and future generations. If anybody's wondering why you've got 20-plus hour waits at the emergency rooms now, I've said this a million times on this channel. I'll keep saying it. Right now, before these new deficits turn into interest on the debt, right now, before Carney's deficits, right, we're spending more servicing the interest on the national debt in Canada than is given out in transfer payments for healthcare to the provinces by the government. Okay, that's not sustainable. Not when you've got universal healthcare. That's crazy. Mark Carney, the button-down moderate, the economic genius, is making this worse. Not just a little bit, a lot. Worse than Justin Trudeau. I have been saying all along, ever since he first decided to parachute back into Canada, right before the last election, that Carney was going to be Trudeau, but Trudeau on steroids. It's going to be Turbo Trudeau. Mark Carney had been advising Justin Trudeau since 2020. All right. You might as well just consider Trudeau to be his protege. He was doing what Mark Carney said. Now Mark Carney's got the reins himself. I said it was going to be Turbo Trudeau, and it looks like, very sadly, I was correct. But the most recent federal budget was now well over a year ago. The government took the highly unusual step this year of waiting until the fall to release its annual budget, more than halfway through the fiscal year. Yes, they're doing that to hide it because they know at least some Canadians, the Canadians that are paying attention and aren't totally brainwashed at this point, are going to go, hold on a second, this is bad. This is Turbo Trudeau. This is really bad. Unfair to pass these burdens on to current, young, and future generations. Well, sadly, the people who went most, the demographics who went most for Trudeau were boomers and the youngest voters. So the youngest voters voted to destroy, to give Mark Carney their futures, to destroy, to burn. The C.D. Howe report criticizes the government's decision to wait until the fiscal year is more than half over before releasing its budget. Quote, delaying a budget until the fiscal year is more than half over is never good, but Canada's current high spending trajectory makes this delay especially bad. Geez, it's almost like this whole thing could get completely out of hand before anybody even realizes what's going on, which is exactly what's going to happen by design. The report also criticizes the government's plan to separate its operating and capital spending. We've talked about this on the channel before. This childish sleight of hand that Mark Carney, this trick that Mark Carney is trying to use to say, to separating the budget into two different parts. This is a new thing he wants to do. So the operating budget, the money just to keep the government going, and then the investments, he's calling it, the investments. So this is the money, the subsidies he's going to be handing over to a bunch of green boondoggles, like the $50 billion that Trudeau gave for EV plants, EV battery plants, cricket farms, all kinds of different things that came to nothing, that just came to tears. So he wants to separate these massive wastes of money from the budget, and claim that that's not the budget. It's the operating budget that he's worried about. Well, it's all the same damn thing, and it's all got to be borrowed anyway, right? The investment has to be borrowed, and there'll have to be investment paid. There'll have to be interest paid on that money. This childish trick, the sleight of hand. Well, actually, there's actually the operating budget, and then there's investment, and those aren't the same things, I guess, or something, or... I mean... You know, Mark Carney did not overestimate the sophistication of the Canadian voter, and he was correct not to, because it worked. I mean, that's the sad truth. Elbows up worked. This lowest common denominator political strategy worked. You know, the sophisticated, discerning voters, when they were told by Rosemary Barton's teleprompter to put their elbows up and do their chicken dance in front of the TV in their living room, they did it. They did it. So I guess the lesson is, don't bother overestimating the Canadian voter. That's a waste of time. Tell them something stupid, something idiotic. Tell them a lowest common denominator, some lowest common denominator bullshit. That will be more than enough to manipulate them into doing what you want, what's good for you, and what's not good for them, to voting against their own interests, let's say. Anyway, it's all crazy. This is just not going to end well. Not going to end well. This globalist hobgoblin. You know what? He was asked about where he's going to get all the money to pay for all the insane stuff. What did he say? Let's see.
Fast that's is like this question. Thank you. My other question, I'll try and be fast. That's is like this question 4 about the commitment to hundreds of billions of dollars cumulatively you've made today. The parliamentary budget officer told us that implies high deficits unless you either raise taxes or cut major projects, social spending. So do you agree with him? And if so, how high? And
what the parliamentary budget officer? Parliamentary budget office? Why is he rolling his eyes there? Exactly. Let's continue.
Debt to GDP ratio, are you willing to run?
We will grow this economy. We'll grow this economy. We'll balance our operational budget in 3 years. That's our commitment. But we will also invest in this country, including in our defense industry. Thank you. This country being Canada, not.
Well, he's going to grow the economy, so no worries, I guess. He just says that. He just said he's going to grow the economy. So I guess that's enough. That's enough for everybody. I want to watch that again. Hold on one second.
Thank you. My other question, I'll try and be fast. That's is like this question 4 about the commitment to hundreds of billions of dollars cumulatively you've made today. The parliamentary budget officer told us that implies high deficits unless you either raise taxes or cut major projects, social spending. So do you agree with him? And if so...
Why is he rolling his eyes there? The parliamentary budget officer. Like, he's not from some far right-wing blog, right? It's a parliamentary budget officer. Why is he rolling his eyes there? It's just this imperiousness, this arrogance, this narcissism from this man. He's the only one who understands, right? Everybody's crazy. He rolls his eyes. Why is he rolling his eyes again? Let's see. People are concerned because of a $92 billion deficit, right? The national debt has been doubled over the last 10 years. Why is he rolling his eyes? Why is he doing that? I personally think this is totally inappropriate. What do you think?
How high a net debt to GDP ratio are you willing to run?
Well, not to worry though. He's gonna explain everything right now.
We will grow this economy. We'll grow this economy. We'll balance our operational budget in 3.
Yeah, nothing to worry about. He's going to balance the budget. He's going to balance the operational budget. He's going to grow the economy. Nothing to worry about. He's going to grow the economy because he just says that, and he's going to balance the operational budget. This is the sleight of hand we've been talking about. Okay, but what about the rest of the spending? What about because that's actually part of the deficit too. That's actually real money that we don't have. That's going to have to be borrowed, printed, whatever. Right? That's real money that Canada doesn't have, and we're going to have to pay interest on that money to get the money. Interest we can't afford to pay right now when we're paying $1 billion a month already. It's almost hard to believe that this man became prime minister, and he stands in front of the press and says this. It would be hard to believe, actually, if he didn't have such a pliant press, actually, to deal with, who's not really going to call him out. It's all going to be very soft touch. Very soft touch. It's a very sympathetic press because, well, I mean, he's going to give them money, so why shouldn't they be sympathetic, I guess? Cretin. He is a cretin. All right. Let's move on. Let's get to the, what do we got? 9:08. You guys got to remind me when we get close to 9:30. All right, let's get back to the chat for a minute. There we go. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? See, let me see if I can do another ad. Got another ad for me here? What's going on? I think I should be. Oh, this is a new one. Will it let me do this? Oh, this is no, it's not letting me do it. Why? Why is it not letting me do it? I've got enough viewers. Why is it not letting me do it? Let me refresh. A brand new ad. That is exciting. Let's see. Here we go. Brand new ad, everybody. Listen up. Hey, everyone. Tired of paying outrageous prices for your medications while other countries pay a fraction of the cost? President Trump just signed an executive order, folks, to fix this problem. But why wait? Blockbusterhealth.com. I'm saying blockbusterhealth.com. Blockbuster Health, not video. Blockbusterhealth.com is already offering Americans these savings right now. I didn't know that. I'm glad I know it now, though. We're talking up to 80% off the same exact medications you're already taking. Same brands, same quality, just fair prices. Whether it's Ozempic, insulin, or any other prescription, Blockbuster Health connects you directly with licensed pharmacies that offer international pricing. No middlemen, no markup, just honest prices. It doesn't say no commies in there, but maybe. Call 1-888-350-1353 or visit blockbusterhealth.com. Americans shouldn't have to choose between their health and their wallet. Their health and their wallet, you need both of those. Check it out. So that was the first time I've ever seen those words on a screen, people, but I think I did an okay job, and it sounds like a fantastic, fabulous product, quite frankly. All right. All right, what are we talking about? JDL makes a great point. TDS is a mental disorder. It really is. So many people miss the point of Trump. that it's a civilizational thing. It's not about just whatever little thing that CNN and MSNBC is bitching about at any given moment. It's a civilizational issue, and he's on the right side of it. Let's see. Did we find out how Spambot's car is doing and that he's okay? Let's see. Still in vacation mode. All right. Let's see. Oh, no. Okay, here we go. Spambot says, cannot post photos to Rumble chat. Van is so sold. It is written off, even though the damage was really, it was written off. Yikes. Although the damage was limited. Oh, yeah, it's very sad. That does suck. But we're glad you're okay. That's the most important thing. Nevada said ICE budget went from $2 billion to $150 billion today. I did see something. I didn't at any point, and I was off for like 10 days. I didn't dig in deeply into the big, beautiful bill, but the opposition to it from like Massey and Rand Paul was that it did increase the debt ceiling and the deficit. But also on the positive side, like you do need to deal, like ICE does need a budget increase. If you're going to deal with the border issue, with the illegal immigrant issue, that needs an increase. My understanding of it, without a deep dive in, is that the intention is to also grow the economy faster than the debt, and then you can start to build it down from there. And, you know, if you take a look at the American economy right now, inflation's down, stock market is doing very well, jobs are totally outperforming expectations. I think you got to give Trump a chance on it, and that's what the country did. That's what the Senate and Congress did. So we'll be watching. Nevada said we're going to get rid of some illegals now. Well, we know where the worst ones are going. They're going to where is it? They're going here. They're going here. They're going here. They're going to Alligator Alcatraz. I'm not sure that the alligators are actually the guards. I'm not sure, but here it is. They're going there. And this place is just surrounded by like pythons and alligators. So I think there might be some self-deportations happening. Let's see. JDL says TDS is a mental disorder. Yeah, we already got to that one. Let's see. Candle Monkey asks, how do I know if I have TDS? Well, if you ever get angry that there's not enough foreign murderers and drug dealers in your country, you definitely have TDS, or at least it's starting. Let's see. Izzy says, a great point here. Commies don't pay for anything. They don't. They really don't.
And that's nothing but pure and simple old-fashioned communism.
Sure is, Jackie Gleason. Sure is. All right. Radio Streamer makes another good point here. Great point. Commies gonna commie. JDL says, welcome to the cool kids club. 100%. My understanding is that cool kids say 100%. So let's see. JDL says prostitution. Well, that's what it is now. The press is no longer We've talked about this a billion times. Their purpose is no longer to inform; it's now to manipulate. And I don't even need to state just look at the media. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, Radio Baloney, let's move on. Translation, blood pressure too high, too much communism. Clicks, puppy palate cleanser. When is the last time we did a puppy palate cleanser? When is the last time? Let's do it right now. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull it. We haven't done a puppy palate. Well, we kind of do, because I just have them in that last thing. But I do have a puppy palate cleanser bookmark on X. So let's see if we can find that. Like a real proper puppy palate cleanser. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Do you want a real proper puppy palate cleanser? Here we go. Here we go. I feel better now. All right, let's move back to here. Let's see. Radio Streamer, 8.9 out of 10 needs more commie hate. Well, that was listen, that was, and for anybody who's new here, the chat rates my ad rate. So that was a brand new ad. I'd never seen that ad before. I was reading it cold. So next time I'll work in a little more commie hate. But, I was on the spot with that one. Nevada says, good ad just needs commie hate. I know. I'm sorry. I kind of froze a little bit on that one. It was brand new. Let's see. Rosie says, nice ad read, 9.7 out of 10. More Clammy, Bobby, Stormy hate. Are we calling them clammies now? We're calling them? Let's see. All right. Spambot is out. Go to sleep now. We'll catch replay tomorrow. All right. Good night, Spambot. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for the for gifting the memberships. That was really awesome. Nevada says over 1 million have self-deported, but I bet that number goes up real fast now with Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah. I mean, Alligator Alcatraz is for like the worst of the worst, like the real, like criminal illegal aliens. Radio Streamer says, I think this is for Candle Monkey, who's asking, how will he know if he has TDS? If you ever start to think CNN is based or start to have urges to be different or fight the system by using hair dye, you might be a TDS victim. Yeah, I think that's a good barometer on it right there. You can self-diagnose with that. Radio Streamer says, good call on puppy palate cleanser. Blunderworld, how you doing? He says, I love it when my wife shows me her puppies. I know. It's a wonderful thing. All right. 9:20. You guys got to remind me when we get to 9:30 because I got to run out real quick. Got to put everything on pause for a minute. Let's see. What do we got next? We'll save this one because this will probably take longer than 10 minutes to go through because I got a bunch of tabs for this one. Let's go to here. This is from yesterday, July 3rd. There are only two genders, male and female, from President Trump. It really does, this is alternate universe for me when you have to, a president has to affirm reality in a speech. Like, this should be the most unnecessary thing in the world. The president shouldn't have to go up and say that men can't be women, women can't be men, that they're, to reaffirm that we're a sexually reproducing to reaffirm that we're a sexually reproducing species, that's sexually dimorphic, there's men and women, and that's all there is, and that this absurd redefinition of the word gender is just simply just this metaphysical infinite series of abstractions, totally unmoored to reality. A president shouldn't need to get up and just reaffirm the most basic reality. But here we find ourselves. Let's take a look.
I directed the reinstatement of all patriots expelled from our military by the Biden vaccine mandate, returning them to their former rank with full back pay. And I signed executive orders to abolish critical race theory and transgender insanity from our schools and from our military. And I made it official policy of the United States that there are only two genders, male and female. And if it's okay with Iowa, we are keeping men out of women's sports. Is that okay? I also renamed the Gulf of Mexico. I renamed it to the Gulf of America.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't tell you how much I love it. But what I think is insane is that you have to have a president stand up and just reaffirm the most basic foundations of reality. It's just shocking. I mean, we don't have that in Canada. I can tell you that much. Right? We have a prime minister who believes in a ridiculous, absurd redefinition of the word gender into an infinite series of abstractions. That's what we have in Canada. I think that's what they got in the UK as well. Although their Supreme Court there just ruled that, no, there's only two genders, there's men and women, and, biological reality is real. But yeah, it should not. I can't believe when I live in a world where it's necessary for a president to stand up and just, again, accurately describe reality in the most fundamental ways, just for everybody, just to make it clear for all those people confused, right? No, what you believe in is a fantasy world of abstractions, and that's it. There's men and women. You're not assigned anything at birth. You are what you are at birth. Again, this is basic biology, and the rest of it is all just imagination land. It's crazy. But, talking about that, ranting about that, it takes a lot out of me, It takes a lot out of me. It takes a lot of energy out of me. A lot of energy, because it's hard. It's hard bringing out, getting my energy up for these rants. And there's been a lot of rants this evening, a ton of them, and I got to tell you, I've only got so much energy. And I'm looking at Steve Tollison here over on YouTube. Join us over on Rumble, by the way, Steve. The chat you see on the screen, that's all from Rumble. We have an awesome community over here. But Steve Tollison, and I appreciate everybody watching on YouTube, but if you want to be part of the chat community, you got to come over to Rumble, which is awesome. But Steve Tollison says Spambot is gone. He's the one who's most opposed to the they them energy. I could use some great energy, maybe a little teapot. Well, I don't know. I mean, as I said, all this ranting, it takes a lot out of me. It takes a lot of energy, right? And I try to do what I can. I mean, I'll have some coffee. I'll have some espresso. I'll smoke some crack. I'll smoke some crystal meth. I'll chew on some, polar bear adrenaline glands. But sometimes it's just not enough. And sometimes you have to wonder, where could you get the kind of energy that somebody would need to just keep on with these rants over and over again? I mean, it almost seems hopeless sometimes. I mean, where on the
They them energy. They them energy. They them energy. They them energy.
And teapot. We could do that because spam is gone. So There we go. That makes everybody happy. We're at 9:26, 4 minutes. JDL says, I know why I can't get pregnant. Well, have you tried sticking a hard-boiled egg up your ass? Because I don't know, maybe that would work. It doesn't work though. It's just basic biology. There's really nothing you can do about it. If you're a fella, there's just nothing you can do about it. Let's see. Nevada says, Nevada seems to have an obsession with Greenland. He says, I want Greenland now. He says this all the time. Maybe they should just give him Greenland before this gets out of hand. Gulf of America. Oh. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, if only a dancing, teapotting minivan with legs of iron that doesn't snap like twigs. They seem to be. Oh, wait. Does exist. And I'm so glad it does. All right. Let's see. Izzy says, wait, you mean there's no XT or TY chromosomes? Well, in Imagination Land, though. But what about in Imagination Land? Rosie says, my pie video will be available. Steve Tolson says, I'm very happy, thank you. Yeah, that's not medical advice to anybody, by the way. I'm not a doctor. All right, let's see. 9:28, we got 2 minutes left. Yikes. There are only two genders, Trump says, male and female. Why would anybody find that objectionable? It's just an accurate description of reality. And it really is. I keep going on about it, but I don't know, did you guys ever just see something and you just go, because it's around us so much, we're just awash in a sea of wokeness and lunacy everywhere. It's certainly the mainstream media's bought into it everywhere. The newspapers, the TV news, they've all just bought in, and they're just sailing on this sea of lunacy. It's just imagination land. Do you guys ever just stop and go, hold on a second, wait, and it just hits you, just how crazy it all actually is? Because we get used to it. We get inured to it. We're around it all the time. And I find myself just sometimes, it just hits me. Wait a second. This isn't just a bit weird. This is totally fucked up. It's totally insane. The thing that just came out of that teleprompter on the evening news is actually totally insane, and I can't believe it. Anyway, 9:29. So I guess that's it. I guess I gotta go. I gotta run out. I will be back. What video, guys, do you want before I go? Quickly, before I go, which video do you want? Do you guys want noodles or sandwich, or is this special 4th of July GIF that I prepared for you? Is this good? Should I leave this on? You guys got to tell me quick. I got a minute. I got to run out. You guys tell me quickly. Is this fine? If I don't see anything in 10 seconds, this is staying on. But I will put on noodles if you guys want. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, noodles. All right, hold on. I didn't have it racked up. I got to find it quickly. All right. I will be right back. Where is it? It's coming. Hold on. Where is that bookmark? Here we go. Beautiful stuff. Here we go. There's some really good cooking shows in here, I have to say. But this is just a classic. That is just a classic. All right. This is the original Radio Baloney Muse right here. Hypnotic. I say hypnotic. All right, I'll be back in hopefully 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Thank you for your patience, everybody. This is a great time to suggest, if you are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Also, liking the stream is a really big deal. You get free good karma when you do that. Why wouldn't you do it? Everybody loves it. Everybody loves free good karma in these troubled times, especially if you're in Canada. Come on. Anyway, just do that and stuff. So whatever. And I've got to say, YouTube is really hiding this stream. I mean, if you're watching from like X or from YouTube and you see the chat on the screen, that's all from Rumble. We got an amazing community over here. It's fantastic. If you want to really be engaged with the chat, come join us over on Rumble. It's the best place for it. But I'm just looking at the YouTube right now, and boy, they're really burying this stream. I think if I mention anything about that Zoran Mamdani being a communist, YouTube will just immediately shut down my channel, shut down any views, any impressions for my thumbnails. And since I got back from my vacation, it's just been an ice age for the YouTube channel. So what can you do? I have to talk about dirty, filthy, lying commies. I have to. Let's see. Let's get back to the chat for a second. Let's see. And let's see. Radio Streamer says, be right back. Chat, stay commie free. Stay commie free. Great advice. Ottawa James, how you doing, Ottawa? Good to see you. Says, happy 4th, American cousins. That deserves some applause. All right. As he says, welcome, James, just in time for a 10-minute break. I don't think it was 10 minutes. I think it was like 5 minutes. Let's see. All right. Let's see. JDL says, I want my 22-year-old bladder back. Don't we all? Although for the last month or so, I have not been taking breaks, even in like the 3.5-hour ones, which is weird. I was wondering about that. Is there something wrong with me? I don't know what's happening. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Radio Streamer says, come over to the cool kids chat room. That's right. Let's see. Nevada says, Rumble is better. Ottawa James says, commie Canada, bruh. Yeah, it seems like Canada's kind of determined to become a commie hellhole for some reason. For some crazy reason. Let's see. Lots of fireworks going off in the States, it sounds like. Plunderworld says, whammies is what I call puppies. That's good. I like it. Izzy makes a great point. Commie Tube is run by commies. They need to silence anything that hurts their feelings. They sure do. I think there's a lot of purple head gremlins that still work at YouTube. Let's see. All right. So where were we? Okay. So here's an article from the National Post. EU exempting heavy industry from carbon tax as Canada doubles down. Of course, carbon tax Carney. With consumer carbon tax gone, Liberals still pursuing industrial carbon taxes. So yes, Mark Carney did steal the idea from Pierre Poilievre to get rid of the consumer carbon tax, which was adding a lot of expense to people, especially on their gas bill. But I mean, just generally speaking, which went from being, by the way, the liberal messaging on that went from being that it was, if we got rid of the consumer carbon tax, the entire world would immediately burn. And the second that Carney said he was going to do it, apparently it was perfectly, what a perfectly reasonable policy decision for Mark Carney. All of those sophisticated, discerning liberal voters immediately changed their minds just because, obviously. But the EU is exempting heavy industry from the carbon tax as Canada doubles down. Now, what did Mark Carney tell us? Let's hear something from Mark Carney here. Because apparently he knows how the world works, he says.
Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the European Union? Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the United Kingdom? Guess what one of the requirements will be?
I'm going to guess that it's not what he's about to say.
To diversify trade to emerging Asia is to have a form of price on carbon. So we are able to think one step ahead. Guess what one...
But it's not, though. It's not. Let's see. EU exempting heavy industry from carbon taxes, Canada double down. So it's not, though. It's not. What did Mark Carney tell us? Mark Carney told us something. He told us something. Let's see. What did Mark Carney say about himself?
My strength is I know how the world works. I know how to get things done.
He knows how the world works. Huh. Let's hear this again.
Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the European Union? Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the United Kingdom? Guess what one of the requirements will be to diversify trade to emerging Asia? Is to have a form of price on carbon.
Well, he was almost right. It turns out that it's to not have that price on carbon, though. So he actually had it completely wrong, even though he said this.
My strength is I know how the world works. I know.
I guess, sure. EU exempting heavy industry from carbon taxes, Canada doubles down. What? Wait a second. Hold on. I'm just confused by all of this.
Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the European Union?
Not having a carbon tax. But that's not what he said, though. That's not what he said. Even though he said this.
My strength is I know how the world works. I know.
So I'm starting to suspect that he doesn't know how the world works. I think that's why the trade talks with the United States have been a disaster. I think this is why his whole carbon pricing thing now, and this is like his life's work for like the last 15 years, right? Even though that's completely fallen apart now, right? It already was. His GFANZ, Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, had already fallen apart before he became Prime Minister of Canada. The Canadian banks had already left it, had already quit that, his global financial alliance, his banking alliance, essentially. So his whole worldview, his whole plan, his whole globalist plan is just falling apart around him. I mean, this was, again, let's play it one more time. This was a big part of his campaign.
Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the European Union? Guess what one of the requirements is to diversify trade to the United Kingdom? Guess what one of the requirements will be to diversify trade to emerging Asia? Is to have a form of price on carbon.
Except that's completely wrong. It's actually to not have the price on carbon. To diversify trade. Strong European demand pushes U.S. LNG exports up by 20%. This is May 1st, 2025. No carbon pricing in the U.S. No carbon pricing. U.S. LNG exports jumped 20% between January and April from a year earlier as buying activity in Europe remains strong amid a cold winter and low gas inventory levels. No carbon pricing. EU seeks more U.S. gas, renewable energy to replace Russian supplies, February 20th, 2025. Yeah, the main part of this is more the gas than the renewable thing, right? If the renewable thing had worked in Europe, they wouldn't need the gas. Problem is, reality asserted itself. But they'll say that just to kind of save face a little bit. Yeah, so Mark Carney he said this.
My strength is I know how the world works. I know.
It turns out Mark Carney doesn't know how the world works. So he was just wrong about that. I mean, I'm not saying he was lying there. I believe that he actually did. In all of his imperiousness and narcissism and arrogance, I believe that he really did believe, erroneously believe, but he really did believe that he knows how the world works. It just turns out that he doesn't. He apparently has actually no idea how the world actually works. And his plans for turning Canada into this globalist laboratory, I'm not saying they were on hold, but this is a serious setback. He now has no justification. He now has no justification for his plans for industrial carbon taxes to tax those polluters, those evil polluters. What did he say? Here we go.
Then secondly, what we're going to do is make sure not that the government pays, not that we as taxpayers pay, but the large polluters pay. And so what happens...
By polluters, he means businesses. That's what he means. He means the people who are already paying, right? The people that are going to be driven out of business by him. The revenue that Canadians aren't going to actually be able to rely on anymore because of him. So his whole justification for his whole green plan, this whole new economy he's going to build, this economy of the future he's going to build, the justification for that is just evaporated. It's not real. It was just a fantasy world in his head all along. So there you go. Elbows up, Canada. Elbows up. All the way up your asses. Apparently. Now, what are you guys saying? What are you guys saying now? Let's find out. Let's go back in the chat and find out what you guys are saying. Steve Tolson says, okay, I will rumble in the jungle. You'll never regret it. It's going to be the best day of your life. Just let us know what your name is on Rumble if it's a different name. All right. Rosie says, yes, we had loud fireworks for about 2 hours Eastern time. So they ended about an hour ago. All the people are deaf now. All the dogs are hoarse. Oh, I feel bad for the dogs. They don't know what's going on. Let's see. JDL makes a great point here. Carbon crazy. Carbon crazy. More like carbon criminal, really. JDL says climate cult grifters, dollars. Yep, that's what it's all about. It's about extracting every penny possible and funneling it to Brookfield-linked companies. Guaranteed that's going to happen. That's why we still don't know about all of his financial interests. Ottawa James makes a great point. Dude is a creepy globalist. He sure is. He's a self-described elitist globalist. JDL says, make the rich richer and the poor poorer. Yep. 100%. Ottawa James says, grrr. It makes you angry, right? It makes a sane person angry. Rosie has a great suggestion here. We're looking for alternative words for commie, for dirty, filthy, lying commies, or dirty, filthy, lying, stinking commies. Crummies. I like that. I also like clammies too. Crummies and clammies. I don't know. Let's try out crummies. Dirty, stinking, filthy, lying crummies. It's not bad. Izzy says, I registered for Alberta independence vote. I do not blame you for that at all. Ottawa says, Izzy, I can't say I blame you. Nope. If that ever looks like it's going to be real, I got to move back to Alberta again. I like Alberta, so I'd be happy to live there. I moved back where I am now to be closer to family. But I'd be very happy to live in Alberta. I love Alberta. I like the people there are fantastic. I think it's a great province. It's my favorite province. I think. I like BC too. BC is great, but there's things about just in terms of the weather is really nice. I like the weather here. But there's some differences. There's a different kind of person in Alberta that I really like. Not that there's not good people in BC. Obviously, there is. They tend to be more rural, though. But yeah, I could very happily spend the rest of my life in Alberta. Let's see. Rosie says, crimmies. Carbon criminals, crimmies. That's not bad. Carbon criminals, crimmies. That's not bad. Let's see. Blunderworld says, didn't Carney come up with the idea to debank the Freedom Convoy? Yeah, I believe all of the worst excesses, all the most draconian stuff came from Carney. Carney is not a believer in freedom. He's a globalist, right? He's an admirer of Karl Marx. He is not a fan of personal freedom. He's a fan of central planning. Let's see. Ottawa James says, LOL, stinking commies. Ottawa James says, Alberta has an awesome summer. The summer is great, actually, in Alberta. There are a few weeks in the winter where it's just too damn cold, depending on where you are. If you're in Calgary, it's the winters are not that bad in Calgary. I think Edmonton, it's a lot colder. Rosie says, debanking the Freedom Convoy still nauseates me. So infuriating. Yeah. Unbelievable, actually. In Canada, that was just unbelievable. It's something I never thought I would see. There was a lot that I never thought I'd see in Canada. Or behavior from Canadians that I never thought I'd see. I never thought I'd see Canadians celebrating the loss of their own rights in favor of privileges. It just showed a really ugly face to not all Canadians, obviously, but a large part of Canadians just glorying in losing rights to have privileges. So if they did what they were told by the government, by Mother Trudeau, they get a pat on the head and told they were good boys and girls. And hey, you know what? You can go to a movie. You can go out for dinner. You can get on a plane. You can go on a train. You've been a good little boy. You've been a good little girl. Mother Trudeau's very happy. Mother Trudeau's so proud of you. But those bad people that I told you about, those bad people, they can't. The bad people are not allowed. But you can because you've been such good little boys and girls. You can visit your parents now. There were millions of Canadians that gloried in it, that loved it. They felt so proud that they had done what they were told to do. And it wasn't just that, though. It was that they gloried in other Canadians suffering. They gloried in people's bank account. Just people who had given like $30, donated $30 to the Freedom Convoy. Just gloried in them having their life seriously disrupted. When they brought the mounted police in to trample on peaceful protesters, they gloried in that. They loved it. They loved it. It was a really ugly side of Canada that I'd never thought that I would see. And just the incredible stupidity and short-sightedness of it, of just these people who literally can't see beyond their own shadow. It was very disturbing. I mean, this is something that everybody in a Western country has been having to deal with for at least the last 10, 15 years. Let's see. From Joel Berry, managing editor of the Babylon Bee. You need to understand the genderqueer extremists responsible for Jaguar's woke rebrand do not care about the brand's financial collapse. They destroyed something beloved and iconic. That is success to them. The goal is to dismantle. They succeeded. Well, the story's a little more complicated. So they're transitioning to all EVs. So they actually stopped making cars at the end of 2024. So there were Jaguars weren't being delivered to dealerships, and they're not being right now, actually, until they get out whatever that is, right? Until they completely transition. Well, until they completely transition to this. Who thought that was a good idea? That's like some sort of like weirdo perfume ad from the 90s. Bizarre. I mean, that's the thing that strikes me the most about it, is it's so dated. And we're back. And we are back. There we go. But as I was saying, can everybody hear me? As I was saying, the thing that strikes me about it is it's just so dated. Again, it's like some weird perfume ad from 1997 or something. Very just ill-conceived. Now, Benny Johnson says Jaguar sales have collapsed 97.5% since they put out this ad. It's like it's a bit misleading. Now, obviously their sales have suffered, but a large part of it is that they stopped making the cars. So if you go year over year, like May this year to May last year, it's like 97% drop. But they stopped making and supplying their old line of cars. But I'm not sure that should count, because you have to assume there's still like stock remaining, right? Either way, this is very ill-conceived and just terrible, terrible timing. Terrible, terrible timing. All right. What's going on here? Stephen L. So what's going on? From Eyal Jacobi, a pro-Palestinian wears a mock suicide vest in New York City. When will America wake up before they actually start blowing themselves up? Well, there is a bit of a tendency. I think we have to say there is a tad bit of a tendency for things to blow up when you hear like those two words, Allahu Akbar. Let's take a look. Well, I'm going to turn off the music because they're not even showing what they're saying. Always very violent and aggressive, these people as well. But if you're wearing a mock suicide vest in public for any reason whatsoever, there should be a punishment for that. And what should the punishment be? All right, let me think about this for a second. I think that they should load you into a helicopter and then take you to a volcano. And actually, there's one in Japan that's exploding right now. Let's where was that? Here it is. So here's this volcano here, right? So you should be loaded into a helicopter, and then the helicopter should fly over this volcano, right? And then you should be fitted with an actual explosive vest and then lowered into the volcano. And as you're being lowered in, you should blow up. I think that should be the punishment for that. I think it should be extremely harsh punishment for walking around in public with this thing on your body. That ain't cool, in my opinion. New York City 2.0. Wow. Well, it is diverse, though. So you've got to say that. I mean, you've got to say it. You've got to admit it is diverse. So I think the punishment for walking around with a fake suicide vest on anywhere is that you should be blown up somewhere. Preferably as you've been dropped into an erupting volcano, is my thoughts. I don't know. Did I get too creative with it? I don't think so. What are you guys saying? Ottawa James says Jags are junk. Uh-oh, probably these days they are. Let's see. Izzy says, nobody wants to pay a premium for that. Well, the thing about Jags was it was for wealthy men to show off their wealth with something masculine and classy. So I'm not sure that what they're putting out is that. I don't think so. JDL says self-sabotage. Rosie says mock suicide vest. Yeah, that's pretty sick. When you consider what that represents, think about like that Ariana Grande concert in the UK. Like 20 or 30 young girls were killed by an idiot, a fanatic. You know, like hey, I think that is just immediately like if they are going to denaturalize people, that's one you can. Hey, if you're asking my advice, I say yes. Let's see. Rosie says, ooh, make Grok illustrate that scenario. It won't. Grok will not. I know that would be good, but Grok won't do it. Guaranteed it won't do it. Izzy says, that's as funny as a bomb joke at an airport. Exactly. Not funny. But it's not intended to be funny. It's obviously a threat, right? It's a political threat. Well, I can't say that, radio streamer. Come on. Travis says, suicide vest is terrorism for me. Yep. And I got to say, if YouTube was burying this live stream before, it's really burying it now. Really burying it now. Let's see. Let's move on. Well, actually, what are people saying underneath this? That should get you arrested. I wouldn't try that in a small town. Hey, that's racist. Is that even legal? Dry run. Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's not a history with this, right? It's not like there's not a history with these vests. Woke Marxism is a performative cult. Yeah, track that dude down and keep an eye on him. Yeah. Not on. So from Dr. Malouf here, a Somali Congresswoman, Ilhan Omar, insults Americans. Why is she in the United States? Why she's calling Americans dumb? Because they don't want somebody like her to run the country. Let's take a look.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans, and the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again?
Well, the fact that she managed to get elected in the United States, I mean, that does kind of back up her claim that people are stupid, right? If they voted for her. But this is disturbing. I mean, it really does push the limits of tolerance, right? A tolerant society struggles with people like this in it. You know, this person represents the death of civilization. People like her represent the death of civilization, the death of Western civilization, the death of freedom in every way, the death of freedom of your own conscience. You know, financial freedom. You know, the freedom to accurately describe the world as you see it. That's what these people represent, AOC. You know, if they think that people are dumb, well, you know, some people did kind of prove it by voting for them. You know, at least the people where they run, she's right about them. They are stupid. They are ignorant. They're totally historically illiterate. Is she historically illiterate? Maybe, maybe not. She might just be a terrible person. I'm pretty sure she is a terrible person. I think we can kind of go with that one. All right. So we already saw that next one. Let's move on. So we saw, in the most unnecessary, what should be the most unnecessary statement of all time, there are only two genders, male and female. But we've already watched this one. It is astonishing to me that it would be necessary for a president to come out and have to assert just the most basic fundamental fact. It's genuinely astonishing, and it tells you that millions of people have just completely lost their minds. When a president has to come out to assert just a basic fundamental truth about the world, about human beings, you know, it should not be necessary. He shouldn't have to do that. He should never have to get up there. No president or world leader anywhere should ever have to stand up to just reassert basic reality. But at least at least there is somebody to do it. At least in the United States. I know that ain't going to be happening for many of Canada's leaders anytime soon, unless Poilievre gets elected, and he's already made the same statement publicly. So we shall have to see. Let's see. Well, this one, I think that it's going to take more time. Maybe we'll do a deep dive into this one. Bombshell evidence shows Biden White House directly aided Jack Smith's January 6th probe. Maybe this will be for a premium only. I do have to do 5 hours of premium only content a month to stay in the Rumble Creator Program. So maybe this would be a good one where we can just spend like an hour and a half just digging into it. So from June 16th, this one's a little while ago, but I don't think I've actually shown you this one. President Trump, Biden allowed 21 million criminal illegals into our cities, all blue cities, all Democrat-run cities. They think they're going to use them to vote. Not going to happen. Well, this was actually when he was in Canada.
To target Democratic inner cities. What's behind that?
I don't know what you're saying.
You did a post last night where you said you want ICE to really target Democratic.
Yeah, I want them to focus on the cities, because the cities are where you really have what's called sanctuary cities, and that's where the people are. I look at New York. I look at Chicago. I mean, you got a really bad governor in Chicago and a bad mayor, but the governor's probably the worst in the country, Pritzker. But I look at how that city has been overrun by criminals, and New York and L.A. Look at L.A. L.A. Those people weren't from L.A. They weren't from California. Most of those people, many of those people, and that's the focus. Biden allowed 21 million people to come into our country. Of that, vast numbers of those people were murderers, killers, people from gangs, people from jails. They emptied their jails out into the U.S. Most of those people are in the cities, all blue cities, all Democrat-run cities, and they think they're going to use them to vote. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, Clearly, that was the intention. Biden did not fail at the border. Biden succeeded beyond his wildest dreams, just as Trudeau succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. Just as every leftist leader, it seems, has succeeded beyond their wildest dreams of flooding their countries with new voters. Obviously, that's the intention. Biden has talked about it in the past, about how the changing demographics were a good thing, directly relating to voting. Trump is 100% right. I mean, you hear the question, right, in the framing of the question. You're told ICE to focus on Democrat cities. Well, the framing there is fairly obvious, isn't it? Right? It's revenge, Trump's revenge. No, it's you have sanctuary cities. You have cities in the United States that have said, we are not going to follow federal law. We are going to break federal law. We are going to ignore it. We are going to behave as if we are a completely separate country. So that's where you go. You go where the illegal aliens are. That's where you go. That's if you. By the way, he's also changing the census as well, so that illegal immigrants won't count any. Right now, they count in terms of congressional seats, electoral college votes, all of that. He's going after that as well, so taking away a big part of the perverse incentive that Democrats have. But obviously, the goal was to get them voting. I mean, and not even being naturalized, not even becoming citizens and voting, but well before then. I mean, there's absolutely no reason that Gavin Newsom would have banned voter ID in California. I mean, let's not forget this. Gavin Newsom made it illegal in California to ask for ID for somebody to vote. They also automatically register anybody who gets a driver's license in California, and illegals can get driver's licenses in California. Obviously, I mean, how blind would you have to be to not see the goal here? If you think that there wasn't mass voting from illegal immigrants in California, you're out of your mind. They've done everything. They have done everything to make the elections in California as insecure as possible. Not only in California, but I think it's the worst there. Obviously, that's the goal. You'd have to be blind or ideologically blind or delusional not to see it. But you notice the framing, the ever-present framing. You've instructed ICE to go after Democrat cities. Yeah, it's just revenge. No, it's not just revenge. All right. No surprise that came from a Canadian, the Canadian press, by the way. How about this? This is from May 24th. Actually, I'm sure we've gone over that before. All right, let's move on. Are we on the last tab? We are. Wow. Okay, 2 hours and 42 minutes. All right, I'm glad we kept going. Let's get back to the chat for a second, though. Hold on. And, I forgot to show chocolate for Rosie again after we did the last They, Them Energy. Look at that. That looks like a minty chocolate. Do you guys like minty chocolate? This is a bit late. Sorry, Rosie, but we're getting to it. There we go. Look at that. It looks pretty good, actually. Not a huge mint chocolate guy, but that looks pretty good. It's either that or some sort of green crystal meth, perhaps. I'm not sure. But whatevs. Back to the chat for a second. Rosie says, I got to hold a newborn today. Everyone knows it's a boy. I was astounded. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of crazy people these days. I'm glad you didn't run into them. What's going on here? Hold on a second. What the heck is going on here? No, this can't be real. Can this be real? Can I actually be doing a Truth Social ad right now? What? If you're looking for a great place online for news, discussion, and entertainment, then check out Truth Social. Donald Trump's beautiful, big, beautiful social media website. You'll get breaking news stories and commentary from top media figures. If you want to see Trump's legendary Truth Social posts, then get on Truth Social today. Every time you go on, a commie cries. Join a growing community of patriots on a free speech platform. We like that, don't we? Free speech platform designed to avoid censorship and cancellation by big tech. Make your voice heard. Join the movement. Join Truth Social and make a bunch of commies cry. We love it. We love it when they cry. What's going on? All right. I don't know what James says. If it was a white dude, you'd be serving time. Probably. Under Biden, for sure. Radio Streamer says, okay, fine. How about this? Tattoo American flags all over him and drop him off in Pakistan so he can get the same thing he threatened us with. I think he'd last 3 seconds before he blew up. 3 seconds before somebody blew him up there. Let's see. I don't know what James says. From a chick that hates America. Nice. Talking about Ilhan Omar. She genuinely, I'm just judging her from what she says. She hates the United States. She hates capitalism. And I'm going to say she genuinely hates freedom. Let's see. Rosie says, I speak to most of you from the future. I think that makes what I say important. Do not ask my husband. That's eerie. From the future. What? Let's see. Rosie says, green crystal meth. Let's see. Rosie says, Truth Social ad, awesome impression, growls, commie hate, 10 out of 10. Radio Streamer says 9.8 out of 10, acceptable levels of commie hate. All right. Let's keep going. So, yeah, Shimoadake volcano erupts, southern Japan on edge. So a powerful eruption at Shimoadake volcano has launched a massive ash plume. A powerful eruption at Shimoadake volcano has launched a massive ash plume 3,000 meters into the sky, covering town across Kagoshima and Miyazaki, Kagoshima and Miyazaki in a thick of volcanic ash. A road, home, and farmland are buried in gray. I probably shouldn't make fun of this because it's terrifying, so I'm not going to anymore. I just lost myself there for a moment, but this is terrifying, and I hope they're all doing well. And by the way, I love Japanese people. I think they're awesome. They are some of the nicest people in the world, and they have a very orderly society, which I admire. This is terrifying. I hope that everybody is okay. Now I feel bad, but I can't help it. I just do these things. You guys know me. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my brain. Radio Streamer says, bad accent, 9.5 out of 10, would hire you to dub the movies we sent to Japan. Well, thank you. As I said, there's something wrong with my brain. I think the problem is, as you guys know, I've been sober for 7 years now. But before I quit, I think I broke something in my brain. And I think I'm permanently drunk now. So I don't have impulse control. So I always say to people, they say, wow, 7 years, that's pretty good. I never thought you'd quit. How'd you do it? And I just say, the secret is I'm always drunk. It's like the Hulk in the Avengers. When that awful, dirty, filthy commie, Mark Ruffalo, turns to the camera and says, The secret is I'm always angry. It's like that, but with me, it's drunk. The secret is I'm always drunk, so I don't need to drink anymore because I'm permanently drunk because I broke my brain from drinking too much. And when I say I drank too much, I drank too much. Way too much. What's going on here? Sound advice. So what's going on? After a few... Oh, okay, this is very good. This is great advice, actually. This is kind of like, I guess, philosophical. Let's take a look.
Don't give a fuck. Many of you are feeling the sadness and frustration in your lives because you give too many fucks about things that don't bring the joy or benefit in your life. Give no fucks. Of course, it is not easy to suddenly overnight stop giving a fuck, especially after you spent your whole life giving unnecessary fucks. Like with any bad habit, it takes time to break. For instance, if you start today, give one less fuck than you did yesterday. Tomorrow, again, one less fuck. The next day, maybe 2 less fucks. And the next day, maybe 3 less fucks. After a few weeks, you might find you are giving far fewer fucks than you did before.
That's actually really great advice. It actually works. That actually does work. It's hard to do, but again, as he says, just every day, just try to give one less fuck. And it works. Let's see. I don't know what James says, Godzilla movies. Losing the translation. Let's see. Rosie says, Japan report has me laughing. Also 9.5 out of 10. Broken brain. Yes. Great compassion. Yes. Thank you very much, Rosie. I don't know what James says, congrats, bro. The funny thing about it is that I don't really take credit for it because it's been so easy. It was horribly difficult. I tried to quit for like a decade. I quit like 500 times. But then when it just, a switch went off and then I was just done. It was like I woke up and before I'd even open my eyes, I was in a rehab, by the way, when this happened. I was 2 weeks in. I was miserable. I had no faith. I assumed I was just going to drink myself to death within the next few years. And, but then 2 weeks in, I woke up one morning. And by the way, I should tell you, it was the worst rehab in the world. There just was nothing. It was out in the middle of nowhere. And, the only thing that was good is that I had my own room. I said that I wouldn't go unless I could have my own room. And it was expensive. It cost me a lot of money to go there. But anyway, I got my own room and there was nothing. We didn't do all of the like performative stuff. Like normally at a rehab, it's like 7 a.m. till like 7 p.m. And it's really just a bunch of performative stuff. I'd done a couple before that. This was my third time. And really, they didn't do anything. You'd have a little meeting in the morning and then a little meeting after dinner for like 10 minutes. And it was like the worst rehab in the world. But it turns out it was actually the best because all I could do was chain smoke all day and use their little gym and think. So that's what I did. And then 2 weeks in, I woke up and before I'd even opened my eyes, I knew I was done. It was the weirdest thing because the day previously I was totally disconsolate. I was hopeless. I assumed I was going to drink myself to death. And I just woke up 2 weeks in. Before I'd even opened my eyes, I knew it was over. And I woke up and I just laughed and went, holy crap, I'm done. I left early. I left the rehab early. I even kept booze in my house because I got home and a friend was supposed to have thrown out all my booze, checked my house and thrown out all the booze. And he'd gone and just left some like booze in the freezer. We just didn't notice, right? I don't know. And I went to go pour it out. And then I thought, I'm either quit or I'm not. I mean, I know people who drink. I'll just leave it there. And if somebody comes by to visit, they can have a drink. Because my reasoning was that I could walk 5 minutes and get a drink. There's a liquor store a 5-minute walk away from my house. I'm like, either I'm quit or I'm not. Like, it shouldn't matter that there's something in the fridge. Right? Or something, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if there's a bottle of wine in the cupboard, right? So after that, for like a year, I always kept booze in my house on purpose because it was like, I'm either quit or I'm not. And let's find out if I'm actually quit. And it turned out I was. So it was easy. I don't actually even take any credit for it. It was just like a miracle, really. A switch went off while I was asleep. And then it was just over. It was a weird thing. So But there's never been any white knuckling, any of that. Or me, driving up to the liquor store and then going, no, and turning back. No, none of that. It was just over. Really weird. I don't recommend it for everybody that way, but it worked for me. All right. JDL, 21 years sober this year. That is fantastic. Good for you. Ottawa James says, I quit for 9 months one time, lost like 20 pounds. Well, you'll either lose weight or gain weight. Just depends. I actually put on weight after I quit. Let's see. Slept like a baby. You do sleep a lot better. Candle Monkey says, so good to hear a successful rehab story. It's so rare, but it's a weird rehab story, success story, because it only worked because they didn't do anything, right? The only reason it worked is because I was just left with nothing but my own thoughts for 2 weeks and also no access to booze, right? So turns out all I needed was to just not be able to get booze for a couple of weeks and just think about it all day long, every day. So I kind of feel like if I'd been forced to go through all of the performative stuff from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m, probably wouldn't have worked, and I might not even be here right now. Rosie says, yes, a miracle. The demon left. Yeah, it's crazy. I think of it as like a miracle. All right. What the hell? You know what's not a miracle? Mystery figure terrorizes neighborhood by prowling the streets dressed as a black cat. I made a video, I think it was a few years ago now at least, about a gimp in England, a neighborhood gimp. Like from Pulp Fiction and like the leather, right? Mystery figure terrorizes neighborhood by prowling the streets dressed as a black cat. A mysterious figure dressed in a cat suit and prowling along paths near Wallasey Beach in Wirral has terrified locals. The person has caused chaos in the neighborhood in Merseyside, with some residents revealing they had never been so scared after they encountered him. So you live in some like nice little English, village, and all of a sudden there's some weirdo walking around in a cat costume at night following people. Yeah, you're not used to that. The figure, dressed entirely in a skin-tight black cat suit and mask, has been described as an urban jaguar, banshee, and a gimp by residents after he was caught meowing and writhing around on the ground. I wonder if he was ever invited to the Biden White House. Pictures and videos on social media show the peculiar person prancing along a path and wriggling under fences. Time to bring back shaming. This ain't right. This is a problem. You can't do that. I'm sorry, you can't do that. Oh, that's the gimp one. That's the gimp, I believe. That's the one I made the video about a while ago. Let's see. Is that the cat person or the gimp? Let's see. This episode has drawn comparisons with the Somerset gimp. There we go. Who terrorized motorists driving home at night by dressing in a black gimp suit in May 2023 near Weston-super-Mare. Stuff of nightmares, they say. The stuff of nightmares. I don't know. Are these the limits of tolerance? I ask, are these the limits of tolerance? Is this the plus? Is this part of the plus in the LGBTQ blah, blah, blah plus? Like, is this one of the people that just like a normal, like, gay man or lesbian woman is forced to pretend that they're on the same team with? The Somerset gimp? We're all the same, said the gimp. I don't feel like they're all the same. I think they're different. They're different things. Look at that. There you go. You can see like X's on the eyes and the weird mouth. That's horrible. You can't do that. You can't be allowed to just go around terrifying people, terrifying children. You're going to give people complexes. Wrong. No. You know what? Okay, well, they don't have alligators in England. So what? I don't think they have actually any big scary animals in England anymore. So maybe they could extradite them to. Maybe they could send them to Alligator Alcatraz. I don't know. But you can't be running around doing that, scaring the hell out of people. That's no fun. And you got to wonder, what else is this person getting up to? If they're doing this, maybe they're getting up to some other stuff that's even worse. I don't know. Bring back shaming, gimp shaming. I think it's time that we brought back gimp shaming. 100%. All right. Don't be a gimp. Wishing everyone a lovely evening. Well, this is a palate cleanser. Look at that. That's just nice. That's just nice. That's actually quite amazing, isn't it? Where is that? That must be in Europe somewhere. That must be in Northern Europe, I'm thinking. Wishing everyone a lovely evening. That is really nice. I want to go there. Before it's just suicide bombers. Let's see. Oh, there's the Jaguar sales thing. We already covered that. Oh yeah, some of this stuff is we've already covered. We've got some new stuff. We already covered that one. Hold on. Let's see. How about this from the Babylon Bee? Democrats confused by parades without any naked people or sex toys. Very confused by it. What a disappointment for them. Weird. We already saw that one. That's not all the new stuff I had for this tab, is it? Is that it? Looking, is there something? Yeah, we saw that stuff. Saw that. Saw this. So we saw Crazy Face last time. Man, that's plastic surgery. That's intentional. Yikes. Saw all of this. Saw that. Saw all of this. I think that's it, people. What are we, 3 hours in? Yeah, we saw all this. That's it. We are done. We are done. All right. On what James asks, LOL, a gimp. A serious, a bona fide gimp. Let's see. On what James says, I was in the AA cult. You know, before I finally got sober, I had gone to innumerable meetings and failed over and over and over again. I'd been, to every church basement with a big coffee can with cigarette butts in it, overfilling with cigarette butts within 100 kilometers of me. I tried it over and over again. I tried doing meetings every day and blah, 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 the 90 and 90, all that kind of stuff. And it never worked for me. And once I finally was freed, miraculously freed from it, somebody made me go to a meeting, and I went and just went, yeah, I don't need this. I'm not saying it's, for some people it's good, for some people it works. I don't judge. But for me, I did see it as a cult. Otto James says, I got bored. It didn't work for me. Some people it works for. Black cats are the best. Yep, that's because they're evil. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, make asylums great again. They sure should. Let's see. Rose says, now we have covered many kinds of jaguar. Yep, there we go. Thunderworld, how do you say gimp in beef jerkistan? I don't know. I don't know these things. Rosie says, since they threw out Mark's Crummy, no more scary animals. Mark's Crummy. I think I like that one. Mark's Crummy. I like it. Let's remember that one. All right. All right, everybody. That's it. Now, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. It's super important. Everybody's doing that, so you don't want to be left behind. Also, liking the stream. Apparently, this is a big deal now. I didn't realize what a big deal it was, but it turns out that you can get free good karma every time you like the stream. Also, subscribing to the channel, you get that good free karma. But every time you like the stream, you get free good karma. In these troubled times, are you kidding me? I'd be doing that. I'll be doing that all day, except you can't really do it all day because if you like it, then you press it again, that unlikes it, and then you like it again. It only counts as one. That's my point. But anyway, I would super do that. If you want to support the channel, if you really want to do that, no pressure on anybody, but if you want to, I just want to say my favorite way of supporting the channel is to become a channel member wherever you're watching. And an awesome thing is to also, and Spambot is an absolute prince at doing this, buying gift memberships for other people. Just somebody in the chat, you can see that their chat isn't highlighted. That's a fantastic thing. I love that. It's really great for the channel. No pressure, anybody. I know times are tough. I'm just saying, if you wanted to do something for the channel, then there's something. That's my favorite thing. All right. Let's see. All right. So we are going to be back. When are we back? I guess we're back on Sunday. I think we'll do a premium only stream on Monday. You guys, if you guys have got any ideas for something to do a premium stream on, something we haven't covered here, something that nobody's covering, something that you'd like to see a deep dive on, put it in the comments to this video. And I will take a look at it. And if I think it's something I can dig my teeth into, we will do that. We'll do a deep dive on something in the premium only stream, which I have to do 5 hours of which every month to fulfill my obligations to the Rumble Creator Program. Anyway, put it in the comments, and hopefully there'll be some good ideas there. And also become a premium member. So that, if you're a channel member, by the way, you can watch the premium content. So that's awesome. Yes, so we will be back on Sunday. I think we'll do a premium only stream on Monday. Then we'll be back on Tuesday. Don't forget, Sunday is 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. Tuesday the same. Friday 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. And all right, Ottawa James says, I told some buddies to check you out. Well, thank you very much. That also really helps the channel out a lot. I hope that everybody does that because that's an awesome thing to do. But that's it for tonight. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the chat. If it wasn't for the chat is half the show now. I mean, this is a very interactive show, which is why it's fun for me. If you guys weren't there, I would be ranting to a cold and indifferent universe, and that would be depressing. But you guys are here, so I don't have to do that, so it's not depressing. So I'll keep doing it as long as you guys keep showing up. Thank you very much, and we will